What's up, everybody? This is Rene Rodriguez with the Long Story Longer podcast. Coming at you for the first time in a long minute because we've been busy, but I've got more time on my hands now, and we're back in business. We're back on the show, and today's guest, my friend Adrienne Didi Dominguez,
Hello.
also known as Chica Chancluda. What's
That's
up, Didi?
right. Hi, how are you?
It's good to see you, Didi.
Good to see you too. It's been a long time.
So one thing I'll say about you that I was saving for, not when we were talking beforehand, but saving it for now is, as long as I've known you, from the minute I met you at Homeboy's house that one time, your smile always lights up a room.
Thank you.
Every time I see you, and even most recently whenever I saw you at Adam and Yolotli's show months back.
Yeah.
I wanted to say it was a couple months ago, but it's been more like half a year at this point, no?
I think so, yeah.
At the Rock House. I remember seeing you, I'm like, there she is.
Thanks.
Hell of a great friend right there.
Thank you. It's paid the bills. This smile has made some money.
Good.
Thanks, Mom.
Hell yeah. So you've been busy.
I've been busy. Thanks for having me on. It's so great.
Thanks for
I'm so
making it
excited
out
that
here.
You've been doing this. I'm so excited. I really enjoyed the guests that you've had in the past, so I'm honored. We've been trying to get this one going a couple of times, so yeah, I've been good. I've been busy. I lead a life with many side quests, I guess.
So Didi's an artist in every aspect of the spectrum, and
I
then
am a creative person, and I am on the spectrum.
But you're a crafter, you're a painter, you're a muralist, you're a tattoo artist now.
Tattoo artist, that's my main biggest endeavor right now. I just got my own private studio. That was at least 3 years now in the making, and it has not been easy. I kind of wish I would have stayed at a walk-in shop a little bit longer, just because tattooing is such an intense craft, and it's something I've always wanted to do for so many years. And I just, after COVID, like everybody else, I had this there's no time like the present, so I just got over myself and did it. It was hard.
Now more power to you for doing it, because like myself as an artist too, right? People see my drawings and they're like, have you ever tattooed? I'm like, hell no.
Everybody goes there. Have you tattooed? And I was like, oh my god, no, that's too scary.
I don't have the balls to do it, because I'm, as an artist myself, I hope I don't sound pompous saying that, call myself an artist, but as an artist myself, I got to be in the mood.
Yeah.
I have to be in the mood. I can't draw on demand. If it starts to feel like a job, I like it even
true.
less.
It's true. That is true.
Yeah.
And you have to find that space in which you can create. And you can create what everybody else wants you to create. And it's permanent.
Yeah.
You can't
That's a catch-22.
You can't procreate that. You can't unlayer that. To me, it was so sacred.
Right.
And to me, tattoos have meanings, and I like the environment to be right, and it's not that serious. A lot of people just don't care. Just like what we eat, they don't care what we put in our bodies. They don't care what you put on their body. But for me, to get over myself, that was a lot. And then to do a little monkey, I want this and I want that, and you're like, oh, really? Are you sure? It's a lot.
Right.
It's
Yeah, so even with the stuff I've done, like graphic design or logo design for people, or whenever people request certain drawings, I can't tell you how many times I've designed something that's to my liking, it's super badass, and then they throw in a curveball, what if you do this differently, or what if you change this or that?
But you can't.
Yes, I'm like, this is quality fucking work right here. So honestly, what I do with a lot of people, what I started doing now, I mean, it's not a permanent thing like a tattoo is, but what I started telling people was, you know what? This is my rate for friends and family. It is what it is, whatever.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to charge you. But if you want any altercations after that, I can't tell you how much it's going to go up, but it's going to go up after that.
Yeah, you do. And I request deposits to start the drawing, to start an image. But most of the time, I will say with tattoos, there's enough Pinterest right now that people are like, I want this, but with this. And developing the image is not what it used to be in the past, where you had to have your own flash. I couldn't come on to this industry in a easier or better time. One, it's legal in most states. In some places it wasn't for a long time. It's to get materials, you don't have to know somebody, or you don't have to be a formal shop. Before, they would only sell to shops, the suppliers, and now you can get it on Amazon. You can do Temu, bro. Inks are still not FDA regulated. So you do at least want to go with somebody that's gonna like at least
a reliable source.
That's gonna have a pact with themselves to be clean and sanitary. But yeah, as far as the art goes, a lot of us are struggling. One, with just the economy being how it's being, but you don't have to create something from scratch all the time. People are ready to come in with what they want, and I've have this little niche right now where I have a nice quiet studio. It's a private studio. People, a lot of women want to come in to take a nap, and they'll pay me for the day or a tap out session, and we have this idea in mind, and they give me like this much creative freedom, enough for me to keep going, and they just want to relax. It's a nice therapeutic type of session, and doing what I've been doing before the last 20 years is tarot and intuitive spiritual advice. It all just kind of fits hand in hand, and we end up with a nice tattoo at the end of the long session. So I'm in that session, I'm in that little area, and then they'll come in and bring their friends to get the little matching tattoos or the small little things, because they want it to be a nice experience. And you know, going to these big loud shops with a lot of people and guys gawking at them, it's just a little bit too much. But I do have a large selection of male clients as well that want just a nice chill session. So I'm in this, I've built a little space for myself. I'm kind of excited about that.
How was Victor Peña, my buddy?
Oh, dude, he's cool, dude. He's super cool. He wasn't
too picky, too.
No, dude.
No, he's cool as fuck.
No. That was a fun session. We had fun.
And that design that you did was that drawn from scratch, or was that something he showed up with?
You have to remind me which. I remember the name, and I can't.
Victor's the guy with the beard. Shaves his head bald. I'll show you a picture. So Victor, I've known since I was in elementary school.
Which tattoo?
I think it was a crow with an orange background.
Victor. Okay.
Yes.
So I know.
They call him El Mudo.
Well, no, he's not Mudo with me. Like so I know him different.
He's never a Mudo, so I never get that moniker.
So I looked at his I can't remember his last name, but he's
Peña.
Something else on social media. We talk on a regular basis, and he's been wanting that crow for a long, long time. Yes, he's a homie, and he wanted that crow for a long, long time, and we've already done at least 3 or 4 tattoos on him. And he's always so nice and respectful, and we want to go in for a much larger session. And I think we called that crow, he said, you gave me a Halloween eagle or a spooky eagle tattoo. So yeah, that tattoo was a lot of fun. We knocked that out in one session. He sat like a fucking rock, like just sat. So yeah, that he's a fun one to come in to tattoo, and he's one of the ones that like just a nice chill session.
Yeah, I don't get the I was gonna say noodle, the Moodle moniker, because he's always been very talkative and very quick witted.
Yes, absolutely.
And his movie knowledge is through the roof.
Yes. Oh my gosh, dude. So I don't know if the audience knows, but his family used to have VHS.
Yeah, here in Socorro.
Yeah, and he will pick up the most obscure sound bites that are stuck in my head, and we'll just be tattooing. I think that last session was like 9 hours or 11 hours. We were there for a minute. And I mean, I'm jamming. We didn't take like hardly any breaks except to like drink water, go pee, and like just right back at it. And I'm not exactly too gentle with that. He says I have a light hand. I don't know. I was there pounding color in the alarm for 9 hours. So yeah.
But he's a good client.
Great client, great conversationalist, great person all around.
I was gonna scold him if he wasn't.
No, so. He's absolutely he's been. I'm just sorry I couldn't remember the name. I was like, I do, but I don't. You put me on the spot there, but yeah, I was like, Victor?
Because that was pretty recently that you did that one.
Yeah, but I've done, we did like
Was it a frog
a
or
frog.
Mm-hmm.
It was an image that he brought to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to make that into life. So he's the type to bring me images. With the crow, he gave me a few images to composite, and we worked with that, and worked with the body shape. So like I said, I didn't have to draw anything like from scratch like that. So it is art, but for me, I'm still learning how to create pieces like that, and I can continue to make money as a tattoo artist. Where in the past you couldn't. You had to have your own art. You had to have that.
Your own style.
Yeah, exactly. And now with Procreate, it's too easy. It's too easy to, the minimal amount of drawing can get you so far. And that's actually my private side quest right now, is teaching myself the fundamentals of that. I know sculpting. I know costume making. I know set design.
But I think with everything that I've done myself, it's all hit and miss. Just mess around with till you figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. And where we have that, it's called the I'm having a total brain fart. It's the imposter syndrome, where you're like, can I call myself an artist? You can. And the more that you call yourself an artist, the more you have control, or you command the control to state your rates and state your boundaries and stuff as an artist, as the professional. And for those of us that really love the art, it's a lot harder for us to like command that. And then you get the other artists that like abuse that.
For sure.
And we don't want to be associated with that, because for us it is something that we do feel connected to. We do feel. And as a tattoo artist, dude, because it is going on another person's body, I have to be fluid in that, what I think is good and what other people want on their bodies.
Yeah.
And I know that my opinion is going to be valid for so much, but beyond that, it's going to be what they want, right? And then I have to fit it in with a budget, because now we're talking hundreds of dollars to get into a tattoo. They can't do that, and like, I have to come up with an image that they like, that fits into their budget and their pain tolerance. So that's like a lot of work, and it has to be a professional situation. So I have to put my foot down, or I will get taken advantage of. And it's a slippery slope with that.
So I had a buddy, Brad, that went to art school with me, that would get mad at me for selling myself short with the art. But part of it was for sure imposter syndrome, because even to the day I still have imposter syndrome with my art, with my music, with everything I do, even with work. But Brad would tell me at the time, AI art, fuck it. I don't want it. I don't fucking like it. It is what it is. But at the point in time that Brad scolded me like a brother would, like dude, if art was easy, everybody would be doing it. So get paid what you're worth. Get paid for your time, your style, your talent.
If I can give any advice, I know it's early in the show for that, but if I can give any advice for people who are struggling to materialize their dreams, it's like you have to accept yourself for who you are, and it's your intentions. As a spiritual advisor, I call that out like so much. It's your intentions. If you're working your regular day job, your intention is to do a good job, then that's what's going to come out of that. And you can't, that's undeniable. Your intentions are undeniable. With art, if your intention is to create an enjoyable piece of art in whatever medium, then that's what's going to come out of it. Then your intentions are what are really going to ground you, and you don't have to be anybody you don't want to be. As long as your intention for doing what you're doing is on point, and it is in working with your highest good, your highest self.
I think the way you express that, I can relate to that a lot more with music than I can with my art or my graphic design. Because I think, like I said earlier, with the graphic design, where people bring an idea, you draw it out, and then they want to tinker with it or make it different, alter it however they want to alter it. And then there have been times where they love whatever changes I made, and I'm thinking to myself, this is dog shit. The original fucking piece I gave you was way fucking better. Right. And to the point where sometimes I've given some stuff that they loved, and I'm like, I don't want to put my name behind that, but they love it. That's on them.
There's a lot of tattoos that I don't post on my social media because it's just weird. But like they want it, they're happy with it, and being that bridge between the art that they want and like the art that they have, we are that bridge, and we're allowing them. And I think some of that, I don't know if you've come across this, as some people wanting to like try to be the artist because they don't know how, so they're like trying to do it next to you. And I think that's why like if you go to a mechanic and you want to learn how to do work on a car, like the mechanic's going to charge you more for being there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think as artists we're going through the same thing. People are just like they want to try their hand at being creative, or they want their spin on it, and it's got to be just their spin, so they're gonna put that because that's where it landed, and that's what God, you know, I don't know, whatever, they want to put their name on it, and it's just like, go for it, dude. Look what you came up with, man. That's great. That's so you, man. That's awesome.
It's a lot more intense with a tattoo though, because like you were saying, it's gonna be there forever,
dude.
Yeah, no, I couldn't be a tattoo artist.
Dude, I sat on that opportunity for over a decade, and I had been invited by multiple people to apprentice, and it was really hard going into apprentice at 40 to work for a bunch of dudes, and especially having the colorful career history that I had, like. And I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I worked fast food. I was a server for a long time too. I don't mind mopping the floors, scrubbing toilets. That's just got to happen. When you're working in a tattoo shop, cleanliness is of the utmost, right? But you're dealing with a lot of personalities, man. And there's no HR. Like, there's no HR. And these people believe that they're artists, and you're not going to tell them, but you got to deal with all this stuff. It was hard. And I suffered a lot. My sugar was through the roof. Like, it was so bad.
Yeah, so I'll never be that artist because I don't want to come across as pompous or whatever. Like, we're artists for sure.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things I've been talking a lot about recently is titles. I don't want to give myself a fucking title. I'm Rene, and this is part of what I do.
I like the term creative.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's better than calling.
The creative in itself is a word about creation. And with there's creation, you even think of the Big Bang Theory. There's things that have to burn and melt and for something to be born. You know, even birth is difficult. So I like creative because it kind of includes a lot of the suffering that we go through as artists, because you can't just create art out of nothing. You have to have that passion. You have to have that love for what you're doing. And you have to be in that mood. And so when you're an artist for hire, dude, that you're putting yourself through the ringer, and it's not just your hands and your back and your feet, like when you go to work. When you go to work, you learn the policy, the procedure, and you get to turn your brain off, and you don't really have much leeway after that. For some of us with more detailed jobs, you do have to have your brain awake, but you're still learning, you're still on a track. For a creative, it's all you. And I was inundated. Now that I have my own shop, I'm like inundated with like, oh my god, it's just me, and I feel like that big. I feel so small in that, and you have to push yourself.
That's where the imposter syndrome kicks in. And
dude, as you shaking your boots, fucking sleep. You know, you can't sleep at night. You're wondering like, am I doing the right thing? Can I do this? People really want my art. But one thing I learned, and as some of your audience might know, is I've been a stripper for almost 20 years. And confidence sells. Confidence is what is the utmost, and I'm trying to blend those two.
What's confidence, and it's also a leap of faith.
That's confidence.
Because so most recently I've also if you're gonna be naked for sure, I've got zero confidence in that department. But I've even told Mijo like I'm trying to teach Ryan stuff at an early age, you know, like with the podcast or what we're doing right now with that music competition, is I'm telling them we got to make shit happen, because shit ain't gonna happen by itself.
No.
There's people that they get lucky and stuff happens for them or whatever, but if you take that leap of faith, and again the confidence you're talking about, it's you got to make stuff happen, and eventually it'll take off is what we can hope.
And that comes back to intention. If you're going through this life with intention, I am intending to teach my son to be a good human, and he's walking with the intention of being a good human.
Right.
There's really no wrong that you can do. I follow the 4 agreements. It's a Toltec it's an old Toltec belief, and the main four agreements are be impeccable with your word. Don't use your word against yourself or anybody else. Us artists do it all the time. We self-judge because we have to look at our art the way other people are looking at it, and we're trying to like when a parent's picking out their kids' names, we're trying to figure out any which way that you can make fun of that art, any which way you can make fun of this image. So right there, that's a good one. The second is don't take anything personally. People are living their own lives and in their own realities, and we are, as artists and creators, we have to either influence them, but we can't get into their brains. So we have no say of why they're saying things or why they're doing things. We can't take it personally. The third is don't take anything personally. The one I wanted to get to is always do your best, and that's one I'll leave you with. But that always do your best means that, again, walking with intention and doing what you want to do with intention. And that way, that intention is going to be the reason why, if anything fell out, you did it with the intention to learn and be a better human. And you learn from everything that you do in that aspect.
It's easy to lose sight of it when things aren't exactly going your way. But then I think once you reflect on it later on, you're going to be like, oh, you know what?
It worked out the way, yeah. Like for me, I had to leave the shop I was at. I was just getting toxic. And that's how it is for a lot of artists. And actually you'll see, especially tattoo artists, there's a lot more private shops going around.
Right.
They're not like being bullpenned into this one tattoo shop and, having to fight for the commission that day or whatever.
So I imagine now, I don't mean to interrupt, but I imagine from what you're saying there, it's back then maybe they held that over your head like a carrot or whatever.
Yeah.
If you like it, cool. If you don't,
get out. Yeah.
Get out.
And you're like, God, where do I go? Yeah.
Exactly.
And now it's like, no, I can do this on my own. And I had to learn what works for me in that aspect. But yeah, it is tough to get yourself out of that and understand that you're creating an art with the intention to make this world better.
Manifestation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Make sure whatever becomes of it, you're going to hope for the best, but manifest that it's going to be successful.
Yeah. And you can't help but get better if you continue down that path. Every step you take, even if you falter, you're still strengthening all of your muscles in that walk.
And I think it's easy to blame everything around you if anything does fail, but I think ultimately, if anything does fail, it does come at our own fault.
Yeah. Well,
if we don't give it our all, like we intended to, or because I know myself, whether it be my craft, whether it be art or music or whatever, my shortcomings before have, even relationships, my shortcomings before have been where I fucking slacked off or I stopped doing something or other.
Yeah, taking accountability for what
Definitely.
you're doing. Yeah, that's awesome, and being mindful about your actions and how they're affecting other people, which can be drowning for an artist and a creative person, because if we're having a rough time with our significant other, it's that much harder to create a nice, delicate piece of art. When we're dealing with tragedy or drama, it's a lot harder for us to really give it our all, because we're pulling from the same, we're getting from that same area of our lives, that same little drive.
But also what happens when we see an artist, another tattoo artist at the studio or whatever, that's way better than we are. But then again, we doubt ourselves or whatever,
Yeah.
But then again, if we establish our own style, we're going to have the people that like what we do.
Right.
And
that vibe goes a long, long way. Like I said, there's people that run some of these shops that are just not good people.
Yeah.
They're just not good energy. And people listen to that, and they're going to look at that tattoo, and it could be the most beautiful tattoo, or they can look at the most awesome logo. But if they don't like the person that created it, that's all they're going to see. And that's kind of crappy. And I know that I have tattoos that people have ragged on, but I love that tattoo for what it means to me and the experience that I had at the shop when I got it. It's a multifaceted situation when I look down at my own tattoos.
So what I've got and what my brother Rudy has, Rich did.
Oh yes.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Rich.
And I think it's. I'm glad it was him.
Yeah.
In regards to what you're saying, because Rich was full of life.
He was, and he lived his life by his rules and whatever he wanted to do. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, so.
You know, that's where people are like, just do it. They just want you.
Yeah.
To do it. They want you to do it, and they can say to so many people like, oh yeah, Rene did this for me, and oh Didi did this for me. Yeah. It says a lot when they remember your name, and for me personally, having like the history that I've had in the city creating art, there's people that come to me for just that, and that got a lot of hate from some of the tattoo artists around, whether they knew me coming up or they just saw me, to see that I was an apprentice doing some shitty little banger and them getting tipped like a motherfucker. And they're like, why do you have? Because they want to support me.
Don't be salty fuckers,
Because I'm cool.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it, people like me. That matters. And I think this new age, it matters who you are, because the internet's going to scrape up stuff about you.
So it's funny you say that, because one of the artists that I follow on Instagram, Sparks, I can't remember his handle on Instagram, he just posted about another shop that hired an artist that's a sexual predator.
Oh, man.
So he was bashing that artist and he was bashing the shop, rightfully so, because if someone that's none the wiser goes to that shop and he gets all... Yeah, that's not cool.
Especially with people that are walking around as victims of sexual assault. That whole area, working in the sex industry for so many years and being a survivor of sexual assault, it's tough, because it's not that I don't want these people not to eat.
Right.
But it becomes like a fight, like it's either you or me. And when I get asked about my assault, I'll tell people about it. Not because I want people to feel bad about me, but because I learned a lesson about certain people. And sometimes that helps other people not fall victim, especially if they're serial abusers or serial attackers. Like, it's just the world needs to know. And
what signs to look out for, or
in the punk rock days, I used to have this cool button on one of my jackets, and that said, "Make Nazis afraid again." And I don't want to get too political, but it was just about that. Like, make people who have harmful and hateful views, make them aware that we're watching and that we're not going to vote for them, and we're not going to give them our money, and we're not going to allow that. And it's to me, if I think too much about it, I get depressed. Not so much because that I was a victim or whatever. I hate that I was, but I hate that it becomes a you against me kind of situation.
Yeah.
That we do have to speak up about that, but I mean,
it's because that's something that I can feel your pain, but I can't. I like on my end, I can't relate, because I never went through that. So it's like I can only imagine. You know what I mean? So it's like, man. So I get. Yeah.
Being a dancer and having my body violated was like someone stole from me.
Wow.
Like, that's what it, like, there's a whole lot of more emotion that goes into that, especially when it comes to, like, sexual assault. But to me, it's like, well, you stole from me, so then I have a right to put you out there as a thief. As a thief of joy, as a thief of comfort, as a thief of well-being. At the very least. So I don't do business with thieves. That's another way, like, to look at it, but so you can maybe relate to that.
Yeah, for sure, but it's how do you gauge though? Because there's a lot of marranos out there too,
Dude, and this is where we're in this, like, we're starting this battle, and I think these kids, man, I'm a huge TikTok nerd. I am all over TikTok all the time. And these millennials, you want to talk as much crap as you want, but them and their pronouns and all this stuff, they need to identify everything, and they're identifying everything. And I think that's fine, because they're coming across what people really are, and they're charging you for that, and they're bringing receipts. Like, we hated doing book reports as kids, but these kids are doing it for the TikTok. And they're coming up with the histories, and they're coming up with the receipts, like showing, the paper trail, the digital paper trail of what people can do. If you have a Karen yelling at some poor kids at the mall, we're going to know exactly who that Karen is in a few hours. We're going to know exactly, and then we're going to leave bad reviews on their Yelp, and we're going to do this, and they're going to get after them, and you cannot, you are being held accountable right now, not when you meet your maker, which is what I had to, tell myself, eventually they'll be at the pearly gates, and not gonna, I had to, soothe myself with that, but not these kids, dude, not this digital age. They're gonna get you. I saw Eminem put out an interview with himself and Slim Shady. I don't know if you saw that. Slim Shady's coming out like a hologram. And Slim Shady's like, nah, dude, you're a sellout, and blah, blah, blah. You got all your wealth because of me, and blah, blah, blah. And then Slim Shady said something. He's like, these kids, they love me, they love my music, but then on Monday and on Tuesday, or like something like that, they find out about you, and they cancel me on Wednesday. For shit that he said as Slim Shady, and we grew up on Slim Shady, and I was like, oh my god, that was so cool. And he said shit that needed to be said, but at the same time, the way he said it, that doesn't fly these days. So, this new generation is just all about accountability, and we're not gonna vote for you if you're a jerk. We're not
so there's definitely people that we will never we'll never allow them to, like a predator. They could apologize all they want. That's something that can't be forgiven in my mind. But there's stuff like stuff that I might have said years ago. Even the stuff that we used to see in movies.
Yeah.
That people are getting ostracized for all these years. They're like, it's fucking entertainment, man. It's there's stuff that was the way the world was back then. That, hey man, people.
And again, that's about intent.
But
what is your intent for saying what you were saying? Was there any intent? There wasn't. I wasn't thinking. I was a kid. There was no intent.
But if it's a movie or whatever, something that's written now, right. it was for the times.
Exactly. It was for the intent for creating.
Now, stand-up comedians that have gotten in trouble for stuff that, like I said back then, it's their craft, it's their art at the time. Yeah. But if it's something that was something that was with malicious intent,
exactly.
Depends on the severity. Some stuff can be forgiven. Some stuff can't.
Yeah.
Some stuff, hey, people are allowed to grow. People are allowed.
Absolutely. They're allowed to grow, but when your intent is to prey off of other people.
So, again, not to get politically, like you said earlier, normally I lean left. I've always leaned left. I've been a lifelong Democrat. But I see the way things are going now, and I'm like, these aren't the Democrats I grew up with.
Right.
I'm not going to cater to pronouns. I don't know how you felt about the whole Latinx bullshit.
Oh, man, it confused me a little bit, to be honest. But I tried my best to keep up with it.
I'm Chicano, first and foremost. Mm-hmm. I never liked the word Latino. I don't know why. I can't explain that to you. I never liked Latino.
Yeah.
I'm Chicano. I'm Hispanic. I'll go by both of those. But Latinx was where it started with me, where I was like, I can't with this bullshit right now.
Yeah.
I can't. And then now the pronouns and...
I'm not going to lie to you. Even I took Chicano studies in college in the early 2000s, and I love those classes. But as a model, and I was getting into all this other stuff, I couldn't call myself Chicana. They wanted me to be Latina.
Nah.
And I was like, okay, well, I guess. And I'm not, there's a lot of stuff that I love that is from our Latin roots. And I'm like, okay. And actually, that's what drove me to study more about my indigenous heritage, my First Nations type of background. And Chicana is a really powerful term, but I couldn't follow a lot of the... Man, I guess because those of us that grew up, like, barely being heard.
Yeah.
A lot of us, I guess 1980s, dude, we're like the Gen X, but we're barely Gen X, right?
Yeah.
We weren't heard, man. We were microwaving our dinners, and we were just getting by. We learned to just suck it up and go.
Exactly.
I didn't need that. But it doesn't mean that the generations that come after us don't need that, And I think right now the idea of them identifying themselves in such, to us, obnoxious ways sometimes, I think they're going to start making more observations. I don't think it's going to stay there. When we're talking about genders and pronouns, there's
God,
so many.
no.
There's so many, but medically there's so many, and we have been forced to believe that there's only black or white. We're either going to say something or we're not. Like that's how we came to, that's how. And I think there's just medically there's so much, like that we're missing, and if we look at the American healthcare system, like it mirrors what we believe. You're either gonna. I've been to reiterate on that. I've been dealing with the American healthcare system lately as I age. And I tell this doctor, I'm like, okay, well, why do you think it's that? I think it's this, but why do you think it's that? And one doctor's like, well, why do you think it's that? I'm like, no, I'm asking you, like, I'm paying you the money because you're the doctor. And then this other doctor says, well, I think it's that because it's not that. And I said, but it could be this or that. And they're like, yeah, no, but it wasn't that, so it's that. And I don't know anything about the other two options you listed. I only know about... So, again, even, American belief systems, like culturally, it's either black or white. You have a winner or a loser.
You gotta keep it vanilla to have it make sense.
Like, yeah, but that's not humanity, man. And it's like us saying, like, what is your style of art?
Rene style.
Exactly. And we have had to come to terms with it's our style. And I think that's what these kids are trying to do. And we had to say, well, it's like, I have to say, well, it's not black and gray, and it's not traditional. It could be neo-traditional. That's a new one. Now there's ignorant tattoos, which are the little line stick figures and, real simple drawings like doodles. But those are bangers. And, like, we've already dissected the different types of art, and we've just decided we're ourselves. And that's where I'm hoping that these kids are doing as well, that they're kind of dissecting where they fit in and what their purpose is, because we haven't left them much of an economy or a
Nope.
environment. And I'm hoping that they're going to go beyond that and just, let me just do my own thing.
That's why I call it old school or whatever the fuck people want to call it. But with Ryan, it's, hey man, I'm going to teach you what works on my end. Anything beyond that is going to be on him.
Yeah.
But these are my basics. This is what worked for me. These are the ideals I want you to grow up with.
Yeah.
And everything else right now at this point is just... all these pronouns, is that just a rough draft into something more severe later, or something more critical?
I think it's a rough draft about
socially,
like where the brains are going about, a self-identification.
So
we put so much weight on girl or boy, and these kids are more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And we were more than just girls and just boys,
mm-hmm.
but nobody had time for anything else,
No.
So I think these kids are leaning up to, being more about who they are on the inside than what they are on the outside.
Whatever
labeled like.
Whatever the case, I'm always going to be respectful of whatever, but I'm not going to be force-fed anything or forced to comply with something that makes no sense to me. Again, call me old school, call me... What sucks though is when you don't comply automatically, they're going to call you a bigot or whatever other word. Nazi's been used a lot recently.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm anything but.
Yeah.
It's...
Wow, I would never consider you.
Right? Of all people. I'm America's sweetheart. But no, it's just... Because if my brothers, for instance, my brothers are Republican.
Yeah.
I'm a Democrat. But we get along great because we don't turn politics into our identities. And I think that's what's happened like the last 12 years or so. Maybe, give or take the last 12 years. People that... I always relate it to football. I love the Philadelphia Eagles. Everybody that knows anything about me and football, they always or they see the Eagles, they think Rene, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not my fucking identity. And I feel the same way about politics. Mm-hmm. To the point where politics right now, it's not that I'm confused. I just don't like the way the party's shifting. I don't.
Yeah. Me, being, reiterating the TikTok situation, I saw a lot of the riots going on, like firsthand, like live people going on live, and I saw a lot of stuff and how crazy they get. And ultimately, I was seeing a lot of what was happening in Gaza. Like, because it's the first heavily televised and recorded genocide.
Mm-hmm.
And then these kids who are writing these book reports and showing their bibliographies of where this money's coming from and how it, and I'm like, how did we've been blind for so long.
Definitely.
And we've been misled so long, and I'm hoping that these kids with the brains that are like trying to label everything can actually keep going, keep asking why, because maybe they'll get to the truth, or they'll find more information faster than we did, especially in this digital age. So they can see where the money for these things was coming from, right? They can see where their climate change is, impacted. They can see where their taxes are going. They can really give a fuck about what's going on. We didn't. We were working, and our parents were working. And now that they can't even buy a house, generational wealth where? You know what I mean? There's very few of us that have that generational wealth, and the best that we can instill in our families is our intentions. And so, if you're going to raise your kid with any type of beliefs, your intentions. I mean, just because you raise your child American doesn't mean you love them or don't love them. You're doing what you can with what you have. And when we talk about raising a community, I foster dogs, and
Right.
I love dogs. I love fostering dogs. Fostering puppies, I like to do 2 or 3 at a time. Anybody who knows anything about puppies knows that it's kind of good to separate litters so that they don't, they learn more from other kids. It's just like sending your kid to school, right? And they're going to make friends, and they're going to learn from other kids, and, sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad, depending on, what the teacher's allowing or whatever. But when I decide not to have a certain puppy in my home, it's because it's disrupting the greater good or the peace of the puppies that I have. There's certain dogs that just I cannot get along with certain other dogs. It's about making it best for everyone involved. And so when you're raising a child in your home, you're doing it so that the flow of the home is the most peaceful, right? And you're the head of household, so you get to say, you've got to want to pay the bills. You got to be, your stress is already mounted, has nothing to even do with the kid. So that matters, and that's a good way to look at when you're raising another human. Like, I'm doing the best for you with what I have and with what I know, with the intentions that I...
Correct.
And if once they get adopted or going out into their own worlds, you can at least sleep at night. Because you're not going to have any control over what they do in their adult life. You can have an influence, but we already know how many times we told our parents to do what with their influence. Right. So I think, again, it goes right back to intention, and I hope these kids in this digital age can be a little bit more awake than me, but...
Within reason.
Yeah.
Within reason, because... So, I just hung up the American flag behind me. I just got it a couple days ago. And to me, it hasn't happened to me. I haven't been criticized for it, but I've heard on other podcasts, or I've heard other people talk about how even being an American patriot, people are getting criticized for. My ideal America is the way I was brought up, for sure. And granted, there's a bunch of stuff that we were blinded from. There's a bunch of stuff that behind the curtains, that for sure I don't agree with. But my ideal America is for both parties to come to terms with what's best for the country, what's going to be better suited for the country as a whole, for the people in the country as a whole. And I still believe in being a patriot. I love our country. I've had a good life because of it. So I'm like, that's I'm going to display this bad boy back here. Left, right, whatever people are. Kind of takes me back to Happy Gilmore 2, gold jacket, green jacket. Who gives a shit? Right. Just do what's best for the country, even on a solo basis. What Kennedy said, what can you do for your country, not just the fucking higher ups. So I think that's where voting does matter.
I think so too, but especially for local offices, because this is exactly where we live. And if you look at the kids, like back to what you said, if you look at these kids who are analyzing and self-analyzing, they're focusing on an individual, right? They're focusing on an individual person and what you want. And America's been run by like a business where the individual doesn't matter. And I think those two are going to come to a big head. And I think you're absolutely right. Eventually, it's gonna have to even itself out.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's gonna happen, and every single
Hopefully.
country. Well, every single successful country has had several civil wars or several bouts. I mean, England still has them, Australia still has them, and they're way older than us. And it takes us. I mean, we kind of fell asleep at the wheel because we're working so many hours. But these kids are gonna stay awake for us, right? And they can even do it in our names to say, hey, no, we need to think more like somebody for the people. What happened for the people? You know?
Right.
So I'm hoping that, and I think they'll work it out.
Yeah, that's my biggest hope. I think we've had certain candidates I won't name that for sure talk about how they're interested in the country, not the party, and I believe them, but that's who is getting ostracized too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you have a lot of fear, and you get people that are starving, literally. You get a lot of people that don't. I mean, generally, humans don't like change.
Mm-mm.
Generally speaking. And you get a lot of that fear now, especially with how much we've been asleep at the wheel.
We've been sheep.
And a lot of us feel like we've been cheated, and we feel like there's less resources and all of that. And so you get a whole population that is like, hey, we don't want to go that route. That's too much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we have to go somewhere. We can't stay where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll work itself out.
Yeah, hopefully. Going back to tattooing, to
Going
change the
back
subject.
to tattooing.
What's the craziest request you've had, or whatever you had to draw up, or?
You know what? I haven't done anything that like crazy.
Or-
Like I wish I had done something like so wild. Like wow, that's amazing.
Or any crazy meanings behind them that you've come across? Or is it all pretty much the same? This is for my grandpa, my mom.
Yeah, kind of. Pretty chill stuff. I mean, I've met people that were kind of like in a mania and wanted to get some crazy stuff, and I was able to talk them off of a ledge there, which is good. And then they end up going back to another artist and having their thing. There was an 18-year-old girl, and she got sent to me by her best friend, and her best friend was 18, and she got a name on her neck, the first girl. And I was like, who is this? She's like, it's my son. He's 3 years old, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, man, can we put this anywhere else? And I got her to do it small, to do it somewhere, you know, like, it looked as nice. And I was terrified of doing this tattoo because it can't look like shit on your neck. You're young, you know? But she could cover it with her hair and this and that. We talked about that. And I said, okay. So she sends her friend over, and her friend wanted another name tattoo. And she was so going to get it. And I was like, okay, well, who's this guy? And she's like, oh, it's my boyfriend. Well, how long have you guys been dating? A couple of months. And she wanted this big old Jonathan across. And I was like, no, let's not do that. And that was kind of sad. I was sad for her.
That's where the parents failed her. So.
Dude, you know, but she's 18. She can do whatever she wants. And we're going to make a lot of mistakes.
18-year-olds know better.
I just try to do it smaller and with less dye. And, you know, I try to minimize the impact of that, you know. And that's part of being a tattoo artist. You gotta do what they say. You know, like, that's your boss. In the stripping community, I've said no to a lot of things, especially when it involved another woman or involved giving a dance. Give my friend a dance. He wants to dance, and if the guy didn't want it, I'm not gonna do it, because that's also a sexual assault. I could try and be like, "Are you sure you're safe with me? I'm not gonna take advantage of you." But if they didn't want it, that wasn't gonna happen. And I've seen guys like try to drug their girlfriends into these like situations, and I'm just like, you can leave them, you don't need to stay. Like, are you in danger? So yeah, I've seen some stuff in that, but tattoos, no, I haven't. It's only been 3 years, so it hasn't been that crazy.
And I had a buddy that years back, a long time ago at this point, at House of Pain Tattoo, he went and got Death, and he wanted Death holding the Devil Star.
Okay.
And the shop owner, I believe it was, talked him out of it, and I'm kind of glad he did.
Yeah.
He was like, "No, I don't want you to regret this tattoo later on in life." And they talked about it for a bit, and he talked him into doing the Sands of Time or the hourglass, right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad he did too. You know, I'm glad he thought it over.
More classic, not so radical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always great. Doing giant names, you know, across like, oh, I want it right here. No, let's do something a little more. You know, and I'll tell them that too. Like, hey, well, if we get it smaller in that space, you have more room for like something really cool over here. You know, it's a lot of impulse, man. It's a lot of impulse when it comes.
You gotta steer them in the right direction.
Yeah, just try, because it's tough, but I'm lucky I haven't had anything too crazy like that, thankfully. I've heard some stories, though.
Wow. Yeah, no. That's why I couldn't do it. That's why I wouldn't ever attempt it. Again, I'd have to be in the mood to draw at that moment in time, but also, I think I put too much pressure on myself. I'd stress out about it.
That's where I'm still at. And in the first couple years of tattooing, I was stressed. I mean, you can see it in the work. And if you've gotten tattooed by me and you need a touch-up, I'm doing free touch-ups. Just reach out. My awesome Didi. That's my handle on all platforms. My awesome Didi. Free touch-ups, man, because I can't let that stuff be out there. Like, I can't.
But I have had, though, however, I have designed several tattoos that people got.
Yeah?
And there were times where I kind of was surprised that they did, because it wasn't a tattoo request. Like, I had my buddy David, we call him Peanut. So a long time ago, I drew a caricature of him. David's really into music, and
you were drawing a lot of those caricatures for a minute.
So I drew David looking like Dimebag Darrell.
Oh yeah,
with So I remember I drew it with colored pencil on paper while I was bored at work, whatever, and I took this was, I think it was just when Facebook first started. So I took a picture of it, I posted it, whatever, and come Friday I give it to him. I think is when I gave it to him. So weekend goes by. Come Monday, I saw one of his posts, and he's wearing a muscle shirt, and I see part of my drawing on his upper arm. It was an orange, a pair of orange Converse Chucks on the drawing. So I'm texting this dude, like I'm calling him, I'm texting him to see if he got it as a tattoo. So he got a tattoo of himself, essentially, right? But
That's hilarious.
I'm calling him, I'm texting him. I can't get a hold of him. He calls me Mija whenever he calls me. He doesn't call me Rene. He's like, hey, Mija. Whatever, but I'm calling him Mija too, like leaving a message. Hey, Mija, give me a call, man. Give me a call, Mija. Did you get that tattooed? And he wouldn't answer me. So eventually when he does, he calls me up. He's like, hey, Mija, are you upset? I'm like, no, dude. Had you told me it was for a tattoo, I would have done it way better for sure, you know? Because I just drew him kind of standing still with the guitar and whatever. Like, I would have drawn him.
You were just doodling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good drawing for sure, but I would have put him in an action pose or something. But
again, it comes down to what they feel when they see that image, and he just felt that overjoyed permanently on his body for the rest of his life.
And he still shows it off here and there. He's like, hey, Mija, remember? And I'm like, yes, dude. But he thought I was going to be upset that he put it on him. I was like, no, dude, para nada. You know, like, I'm glad you got it, but I just wish you would have given me a heads up. And on the same token, I remember I had a coworker back in the day that had however many daughters, and he wanted a floral piece. So he wanted flowers, and he wanted different insects to represent his kids. So I think I drew a butterfly for one, a ladybug for another, and I think for the boy I did a bumblebee. I think it was 4 insects total on the flowers. And I still have it somewhere. I think I saw it in my garage not too long ago. I still have it somewhere, the original piece. But it was a good-looking piece. Yeah. But he didn't get it because it was too feminine. It was his idea, though. Yeah. But he thought it just looked too feminine for what he was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I like guys doing floral pieces. I think that should be more normalized. Just because it's not a Grim Reaper. You know, that's they're like, oh no, I need a Grim Reaper. You know, with a.
You wanted a gardenia tattooed, no, Adrienne?
With a mace.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know.
Then there was my buddy Joseph. I met him when I was working in the oil field. He had a crazy idea, and you would figure this would be for a dude.
Yeah.
I'm ignoring pronouns right now, but you'd figure it'd be a tattoo for a dude, right?
More masculine
more
design.
well, not masculine, but fucking nerdy beyond all means, right? But
Oh, yeah.
say it was a Lego figure. The body had to be a Ninja Turtle Lego figure with a Stormtrooper helmet.
Hell yeah.
It was for his wife,
Oh,
and
that's
she
awesome.
and she got it done on her foot, on the top of her foot.
Awesome.
So I was like, hell yeah, man, that's badass. So
Those fantasy sleeves, man, those pieces are going so dope. They go so hard. I saw this 80s cartoon sleeve. It had like Rainbow Bright and the Care Bears and so cool. And the colors were awesome. And she's gonna be like the coolest 90-year-old lady
Hell
out
yeah.
there. This like Rainbow Bright like on her sleeve.
I've always wanted a Legend of Zelda stuff on me. I'll get there.
Yeah. I think the kids that are kind of regretting their stuff, speaking about pronouns and tattoos, are the kids that are getting Harry Potter stuff because
Oh
J.K.
yeah.
Rowling's is coming up with backlash there. They're not liking it at all, and that's kind of hard.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that
I did a few
one.
of those. I did a few little ones.
Wow.
So hopefully they can cover those up pretty good.
Wow, I didn't think about that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Suckers!
Man, I saw this when I was apprenticing. There was this client who was going with the mentor, and he like got tons of tattoos everywhere, and he's dating this chick, and like literally covering up one name and then putting his name on another spot. Like, don't you learn? And she's like, well, we can cover up this one and we can add it. She had like several names tattooed
Wow.
on her. She didn't care. Zero fucks given.
Ghetto.
That's like, man, just remember the t-shirts that we would wear on the last day of school? Like, just do one of those, man. Like, you can put all the names on all over the place. Just go hit it with some bleach and come right back.
Should have it at the shop.
I've also seen people with bad tattoo placement for sure, and it's like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
What are people thinking when they get certain stuff?
Again, 'cause see, in the tattoo world, there's people that can do the art, and some people that are just like,
They're in it for the paycheck.
they're there, yeah. And you want it there, okay, whatever. Bam, slap it. They don't care if it's straight. They don't care if it's whatever. That's what you brought in. They're not changing it. They're not trying to make it your thing. They don't care. That's the part of the passion. And again, you have the people that did care, but they gotta fight with everybody all the time. If you're a tattoo artist or you're a artist for hire and you don't have communication skills, everybody's miserable. You're miserable because you can't tell the client that their shit sucks or that you want to do better or whatever. You don't know how to finesse that, right? And then if they can't communicate exactly what they want and you're not understanding what they want, you can't have that conversation. You get what you get, and that's it. So yeah, I've seen people that, one, just don't care, and two, people who can't communicate.
Oh, for sure. I think it's funny because like even Adrienne will talk about how I've always been one of the sweetest guys that he knows. Like whatever, like I'm always a good person for the most
Definitely,
part.
yes, you are.
But I'm also very vocal when I think something's messed up.
Yeah.
I was telling him a story. I won't go into details about this one story, but I'm the kind of guy that if something is in my way from trying to get to what I'm trying to learn or take care of, I'm quick to go, hey, cut this shit out, man. We got to get going or whatever,
Yeah.
And I think with tattoos, if I was a tattoo artist, I'd be pretty nice about it, but I'd be vocal about it.
You'd be stern about what
if they were
what
insistent,
you're against and something.
if they were insistent, then I'd be like, I do remember a time in art school. I know that's not the same basis, but kind of. I remember hearing this one girl say that her art was way better when she was stoned. And I was like, really? Because it's always looked like dog shit. I didn't think her art was good. Not stoned either, so. Or stoned for that matter, whatever.
That's funny. Yeah, I love smoking and working at the shops. Like, I had to, either smoke with everybody or not with everybody. It depended on what the mentor or the owner of the shop was doing. It's kind of, it's some shops you join like a little gang, like a little t-shirt gang, and it's weird, but I never wanted to rely on my sobriety to create art
or
like that.
To function in general.
To function. And as a stripper, we had to drink. We almost have to drink. And you can kind of flub that up. Some people know Adam Dominguez is my brother. Sam Dominguez is my brother. They can drink. And I can drink too, but I just don't. I just try not to. And I'm just like, I'm not trying to tattoo stoned. I'm not trying to tattoo drunk. I'm not trying to. And I know artists that can't do that. They can't function if they're sober. Mm-hmm. And that gets harder because our bodies will wear out. I used to make the joke that now that I've done stripping and I've ruined my knees, and now I'm going to ruin my back. I'm not going to ruin my liver on top of that, bro.
No, it's funny because I was drinking rum right now.
Yeah.
I found myself drinking rum more frequently, but I don't overdo it. But I've never been a big drinker.
Yeah,
I never have been.
Yeah.
But I've been saying it to Adrienne and other people I've been hanging out with recently where I've got high tolerance. My brother Rudy that you saw right now, he's always had high tolerance, and I think it's probably genetic. I don't exercise that muscle a lot, but I know I'm okay when I drink.
Yeah, same. Because now I'm working like maybe once a week or whatever old ladies work. And like I'm at like 4 Hennies in, and I'm just like, I need to slow down. I got blood. I'm not drunk, but I'm pre-diabetic. Like, I can't do that anymore. And they're like, you don't want a mixed drink? You don't want? I'm like, no, that's got sugar. We can only do straight hard liquor right now.
Yeah, so I went to so I'm working in San Diego right now, and
nice.
So I get off of work at 4. So by the time I make it to the hotel, 4:30 or so, whatever, I've been walking the beach. If I go one direction from where the hotel's at, I'm walking the beach pretty much. If I walk this direction, there's the piers with all the boats and stuff and all the fishermen, whatever. So I take my walks, and since I got on this rum kick recently, I stopped by a liquor store that's all tikied out. It's all
nice.
tiki stuff, indoors and outdoors. It's pretty neat looking, and a lot of rum. So I asked the guy, I was like, hey man, tell me about a rum I've probably never tasted that's pretty good that people don't know about. And he sold me a bottle that was about $26, and for a second I was thinking maybe this fucker's just trying to get rid of shit that doesn't sell. But no, like I googled it, I YouTubed it. It's a pretty popular or scarce even Jamaican rum.
Oh, nice.
But I don't drink that much, but I'm on my days off, so I'm drinking just to...
Yeah, absolutely. There's days, man, I tell you, I mean, I would drink because I had to, but there's days I'm not working. I'm like, I'm craving a VSOP right now. Why am I craving a VSOP with breakfast?
Is that vodka soda or what is that?
No, it's VSOP is a top shelf Hennessy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like I used to drink Southern Comfort was my thing for the longest, but hardly anybody carries it anymore, so I had to
it was good.
Go with something. When I used to work at the BYOB bars, I had a string of clients that would bring me my 90 proof Southern Comfort, and that was my bottle. That was my... You know when I was broke, God bless America, I was broke off my ass. Before I started dancing, I was really, really broke, and I was like living out of my car. But just before that, I didn't have groceries, and I had a bottle of friggin' Black Label Southern Comfort and a tub of birthday cake flavored ice cream. And I would make myself these floats, like, and I would just, it was my day off, and I'm over here working several jobs trying to make ends meet. That's all I could eat. So,
wow.
Man, I had some awesome bath times. Just, my skin was so soft. I don't know how I got into bed, but that was yummy. It was a good time.
Oh, man.
That's a lot of sugar. I can't believe I did all that, but there was nothing else.
I think the craziest thing I did, and it's not that crazy no more because you see pickle everywhere now.
Oh my God, yeah.
But I can't remember what liquor I mixed with pickle juice at one point. and my friends thought I was crazy for it, but that was a long time
They're
ago.
selling that now. There's a pickle.
The pickle
shot.
beer, the pickle ice pops. I bought the pickle beer at one point, and it was a bit much.
I can't do pickles anymore.
It was the best made pickles, and they even had a pickle plus grape beer, best made also. And,
Whoa.
and I never tried that one.
Whoa. I think in my old age, I'm going for like top shelf liquors, and I'm just enjoying sipping on them. People look at me all crazy when I'm like, I'll have what did I have? I had the Johnny Walker straight. Just nice sip on that.
So Rudy has a Johnny Walker, the green label, and I believe he read the instructions on the back on how to drink it. I think it says it on there, and it said to pour it over ice and let the ice melt a little before you start drinking it.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's how it tasted better once.
Yeah, and the same thing with my Hennessy. I'll like 1 or 2 cubes and I'll just leave it, and I'll just sip on that, and they're great. People look at me like, oh my god, that's all right. Like, there's little Didi in here.
No, I'm done with whiskey. Is what it feels like. Like a long time ago, I was done with tequila. I can't find.
I can't really do tequila.
I can't find a taste for it no more. And then whiskey the same. I was just talking about how growing up, Jack Daniels was the go-to for everybody.
Go-to, yeah.
So I got into
Jaeger. Remember the Jaeger days? Oh my god, no way.
So I got away from Jack Daniels for sure, and then I started with either Maker's Mark or most recently Buffalo Trace, and they're good.
Yeah.
But I just can't do whiskey anymore.
No.
And then vodka. I mean, anybody can do vodka.
I'm trying to do more vodka, but it's friggin' boring.
So the reason I don't like vodka is because whenever I used to talk about people saying that they got too drunk to where they didn't remember shit, vodka is the only mind eraser I've ever come across, and that was in my younger years. So I don't really touch vodka.
I think it's because you can't really taste it. It's like
it'll sneak up on you.
It's like tofu. It doesn't taste like anything, and so whatever you're mixing with, like, oh, this tastes like juice. Like, yeah, you can't.
Yeah, so I had a bad experience with vodka like in my 20s, so I don't touch vodka unless it's just one sip or one drink, and that's it. I don't overdo it with vodka.
Yeah, I'm not. I've tried vodka, and it's like healthier for me. I'm like, I mean, it's all alcohol. But yeah, I can't. I'm not an alcohol. I'm not a vodka drinker. I like my dark liquors. Cognacs. I've tried some warm brandies. Ooh, I've had some fun times. Like just sipping it. I'm not trying to get drunk. Just like enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah, my intention is I haven't been drunk in a long time, but yeah, it's just to relax and chill out.
Now
and I ain't going.
My ass, but I won't drink.
I ain't going anywhere, so it's just.
Yeah. That's what I found with medicating with cannabis. It's great for the anxiety. It's great for if I need to get out of bed and my brain is just too flooded. I flood the carburetor every morning. I have so many thoughts racing through my head. Just enough so I can get out of bed and take my morning piss. Like I just need enough. And yeah, it'll ride through the day, but
So I can get my morning piss.
dude, you're sitting there in bed, you can't get out of bed. That ever happened to you? If you're creative, that's happened to you.
It happens to me because I'm lazy. So.
No, I'm not lazy. I got a lot of shit to do. I can't. My brain is like, and then it just won't stop enough. So I'm like, first things first, man.
Yeah.
I can't do caffeine. I can't do too much caffeine. I am wired. You don't.
Oh, I love coffee. I don't think coffee
You
has
always have though. I think. Yeah.
So get this. So my brother Rudy, he's been going to Colombia, and he brought over some coffee from over there, and we are going to be in the coffee business. Hopefully sooner than later.
Hell yeah, that's great.
We've got some coffee that's pretty good, but yeah, I don't feel the after effects of coffee at all. Am I addicted? For sure. I gotta have at least 1 cup a day, but that's as far as that goes. Like it doesn't keep me awake at night. It doesn't mess with me as far as going to sleep. So.
Bro, I can't have any coffee or caffeine like after 7. It's creeping up. It used to be like 9, 10 o'clock. I'd be all right. No, it's getting earlier and earlier.
No, when I'm home all day, like these last couple of days, I'll have several cups of coffee throughout the day.
Wow, yeah.
So you're also a medium.
I'm a medium.
A medium. Sorry.
Medium. A medium. Well, kind of a medium. A medium. I stop people from doing some crazy stuff.
Oh, fuck. That was on me,
works.
folks.
It works. Says
But
Rene,
so-
who is not drunk.
It was just 3 drinks, right?
Yeah, sure.
No, I started when you got here, so it's 3 drinks.
Oh, okay.
But I think the one rum that we started with was only 13% alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And this last one, I put some of the other one on there. I think it's stronger for sure.
stronger
But I'm not feeling anything.
No, you're not drunk, dude. You just...
I just got mouth diarrhea every once in a while.
Thanks, Mercury retrograde. Yeah, I do mediumship. So, people like to know like how that occurred, how that happened, what's going on with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, growing up, I was always just more. I was diagnosed with I'm hypersensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Lights, sounds, smells, touches, all that stuff. They bother me.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I can't even get dressed unless the colors and the fabrics feel okay. That's how crazy it can be. And so I go through my own world just picking up and perceiving a lot of different stuff, and I really had to learn hard how to not do that because it wasn't letting me live my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this awesome teacher in high school. I met her actually in middle school. I was doing summer theater camps because I've also been an actress for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the first one that read my cards when I was about 15 years old. And she did it in such a way that we could cipher what was my emotions and what were the emotions I was picking up from, say, my parents, my siblings, my friends around me, my immediate environment.
Mm-hmm.
And it started... it opened up my eyes. I was already very spiritual. I was raised very Catholic. I was very devout.
Mm-hmm.
I taught catechism. I sang in the church choir for 7 or 8 years.
Same.
I loved it. There was a lot of things that I loved. And around this time, hitting high school, there was a lot of things that didn't make sense to me that I could see in the world around me that didn't fit into Catholicism. And some of those were like how I could see things, and I could see shadows, and I could see, where was that? Am I just crazy, or what is going on? And I had to try really hard to shut that part of my brain off. And I fed all of my passion into my religion. But then when I would have dreams, because that's how it started. I would see things, and then I'd shut that down, and then when I would have dreams that would come true, I started keeping diaries because it would drive me insane. Like, how did I know this? How did I see this? And if you talk with high masking or very abled autistic people, we have a knack for finding patterns and connections with things. I will tap into psilocybin. If anyone has done psilocybin, you tend to have more neurotransmitters speaking to each other, which is why it's used for a lot of PTSD, because you can reroute your brain to have different ways of thinking so that doesn't go through a painful mindset or set of ideas. It helps you circumvent a lot of those things, and it helps you kind of see, like, zoom out of a situation. Just like if you're on a Google map, it helps you like zoom out and you can see all the roads, where they're crossing, where they're coming from. And I was able to see a lot of this stuff. And when I do like tarot and when I'm predicting, I use a lot of that practicality that my brain just does, where I can see things. But then I have this whole other communication with another realm. I'm not sure what that is, how that comes about. I just know that it's there. And when I was trying to medicate my way out of depression, like with big pharma stuff, I lost that connection, and I felt so alone. It's like those of us who need that white noise in the background, or the TV going, you have that communication. I always had that. And to me, it was my communication with God. And when as a kid, that's where I bring up religion. I prayed and I had that communication with God, and I would ask for things, I would manifest. And now I know what it is, the manifesting and the intention.
Mm-hmm.
And so I still use a lot of what I learned from Catholicism, but I cannot respectfully call myself a Catholic or a Christian because of how I practice. And as I've gone further into this journey of my own spiritual life, I've become more sensitive to things, to where I am a medium and I am talking to energies that are maybe lingering. Maybe it's the prayer of your late uncle that still reaches you, that I can feel that energy for.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's, that the timelines are all multiple and they're all crossing and happening at the same time, and time isn't linear, and time only, we can have all these insightful talks about time, but maybe we're all experiencing that, and I can have my antenna catches glimpses of those other channels happening at the same time. I really don't know why, but I have been clairaudient, where I'll hear things, clairgustant, where I'll taste things, clairsentient, where I'll feel things, clairvoyant, where I'll know things. And there's another one for smell, where I'll smell things. And I started having images of others during either meditations, and it's happened in a few cases. It happened once at the club where I was talking to somebody's grandmother, and I said stuff. It was just weird, and I didn't know how to explain it. The guy was so freaked out. I was freaked out, and the best I can do is write these down in a book, and maybe I'll know an answer one day. I just don't. But for now, my intention with cards and with what I have, with whatever brain I have, is to help people map out excuse me, where they are emotionally, help people kind of reconnect with the energies that are around them, and which ones are theirs and which ones are not. Mm-hmm. And how to manipulate and work your way with your best intention to your greatest good. So I do that work, and that's why I love having my own private studio, because I can all offer that, in a safe, quiet, peaceful environment. And I couldn't do that working at a normal tattoo shop.
Mm-hmm.
So
reaching several outlets there at your one spot.
Yes, yeah, and I really enjoy it, because from there I got into shamanism, and I did take a shaman's oath about 10 years ago or so. I was really trying to rewire my brain, really trying to come up with myself and what I wanted, and I wanted to still offer all of this. And it's like it comes to a point, like when we're talking about art, where I'm going to monetize it or I'm not going to monetize it. And if you open up TikTok now and you type in tarot, there's so many accounts of people just reading tarot, like just crazy, just out there. And I think I don't want to call it an abuse. To me, I see it like a lot of people just praying because it sounds really cool, but they're not really invested in what they're saying, and the intention is just to be because it's cool, not because of what it really is, right? And so I can't be upset. I'm not trying to gatekeep anything. I just hope that they make the most out of it. I was praying as a child, not knowing exactly what I was doing because I was too young to understand. But I'm grateful that prayer for me became something else. It became how I manifest my life and how I am able to move through my life. It's a connection with my God. And my general belief is that we all have the same creative energy source. Mm-hmm. It could be God, but ultimately in the learnings that I learned in Catholicism is that we are just one drop of water in a big body of water. Mm-hmm. And that means we all come from the same thing. So my God is your God, and my creator is your creator, but it's also me. I am also my God. Mm-hmm. I am also my highest self. My human brain cannot conceive, nor my human mouth can speak the word of this God. It is so the data is like that upgrade is not on this iPhone right now. That upgrade is way out there. The technology is not created yet. Our human bodies cannot embody or perceive all that.
Oh no.
So I try to work with as many denominations, but I do tell people, hey, your religion might not agree with what I do. I don't just read everybody just to read everybody. I try to be very mindful about what I say because I've taken that shaman oath. My purpose is not just to create art, but to be an influencer for everyone else.
Right.
To be their greatest version.
So I think the way you express everything, very well versed. It sounds legit, real. It doesn't, because there's people that for sure rehearse, or they sound very rehearsed. You know what I mean?
I rehearse that a lot just to make sure I don't sound stupid when I say that. But it's like, how do I No, but I'm not trying to sell nothing. I'm just trying to explain what happens with me.
What I'm saying though is I've seen people on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever the fuck, where it just sounds very fake, very selfish on their end, like they're trying to make a name for themselves, or they're trying to. I said earlier, like chismosas or gossip, or whoever doesn't know what chismosas are. I think a lot of people. You said people abuse it, and I think from what I've seen, most people aren't very genuine in how they express it. The way you express it just now, and the precautions that you're taking, is something that not everybody would do. Because they're looking for that extra dime or that extra whatever, And
I've gotten heat for not doing that, for not putting it out there, for not, monetizing this like crazy many times. And since I started the apprenticeship until now that I got my studio, I used to do a ton of night markets. Because night markets are more for adults. If I do day markets and I'm doing tarot, I get a lot of kids, and I don't like to mess with that because I'm trying not to disrupt the.
They still got their fresh minds, or.
Yeah, exactly. They got their fresh minds, and where I'm totally down to give advice to a child at that level, right? I'm still trying to respect the dynamics within their home. Why haven't they asked their parents this, right? Like, and I know why kids want to go out and ask the cool aunt or whatever, but I still don't know enough, and at this market, it's just not enough time to check with the family. That I'm not going to disrupt them or give them a, light a candle there that's going to illuminate a bunch of stuff that they're just not ready for. So I don't like to read for kids. I used to do a lot of night markets, and I do a lot of tips for tarot. I'm just taking a tip. One, because if I'm out there and people are drinking or whatever, it might be more of an impulse to get a reading. And if that's the case, then I want that introduction, or I want that experience to be a positive one. I don't want it to be, something that's going to ruin their night. They're out there drinking it, but also be available to someone that might not know that they want, or not know that they want a message when I've got a message waiting for them. I just try to make myself available for tips. So it's not about the money. It is exhausting.
I bet.
It can take a toll on me, and I don't usually like to do it when I'm not feeling 100%. There's, in the last several years, my clientele has quieted down quite a bit because I have not been available. So now that I have my own space and I have my own headspace and I can make my own schedule, I'm back at it, and let's get some readings, and let's get some answers. Let's get some direction for people.
And how much? I bet a large percentage of it is relationship stuff too.
A lot, and I try to open and expand the knowledge about what is going on in the energies around them. And let's say I have someone that's asking about a serious relationship. They're having issues. They don't know what's going on. The relationship with oneself is so important, and that's going to dictate, again, your intention with yourself, and how you're having an intentional relationship with yourself is going to spill over if you're having an intentional relationship with someone else.
But how many people want to hear that
that
they're the ones at fault? Because I think like myself included in the past, there were plenty of things that I've done where I don't find myself at fault, and then ultimately I was.
Yeah, well, ultimately, any situation that we're in, we have the responsibility of putting ourselves in there. And it sucks when we're talking about, like we were just talking about sexual assault, and it's like, oh my God, I did that. And I know that I was in situations that, I felt like that meme with that dog and the house is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine. Or like, what's that? Simpsons
This
kid?
is fine.
I'm in trouble.
Ralphie.
Like, oh shit, what do I do? Because one, I wasn't either told about this stuff, or I wasn't shown how to get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm still in shock that I was even in that situation to begin with. And this is why it's important that us as parents and older community members, that we admit fault when we are at fault. As simple as it may be. Or, you know what, I'm sorry, I misunderstood that. Or, hey, I'm sorry, I had a bad day, I'm grumpy. Like, it's just really simple stuff. But letting the younger generation know that we ourselves, even though we're in charge, can be at fault as well, opens that door to them to say, oh, wait, maybe I'm drama. Maybe I'm the problem here. Maybe I'm the situation. And that now we don't have to deal with being in a shitty situation on top of admitting the fact that we could be wrong. We already know going in that we are humans and we're all flawed. So that, I know my parents, like, they didn't admit guilt for nothing, because they had to stay strong, and you can't admit fault. And so I try to, gear them back to when I'm doing a reading for someone that is at fault or has stuff. Like, okay, let's say we didn't know this situation was going to be that way. How can we prevent it from happening?
Mm-hmm.
What can we do with the power that we have? And going back to my 4 agreements, we are not allowed into anybody else's psyche like that. We're only in charge of our own.
Mm-hmm.
The last agreement that I couldn't remember is, no, I can't remember again. It was always do your best, be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, and don't make assumptions. Because we don't know what's going on in other people's heads. We can't make assumptions. And making assumptions we already know makes an ass out of you and me, but it also wastes a lot of our time instead of asking direct questions. And even when we ask direct questions, the other person might not know exactly how to communicate the proper answer. And so we can't assume that things are happening because of this or that. We just know, all we have is ourselves and what we're responsible for. And so illuminating that space, that emotional space for people, is one of my favorite ways to work with people. Just give me enough light to see where I'm at and where I'm coming from and where I'm headed with this, and let them navigate the rest of it.
I think it took not just COVID. Well, yeah, definitely COVID, but just being isolated from everybody but family, right? A lot of time to reflect on self-inflicted mistakes that we've done in the past.
Yeah.
I speak for myself, because I think that's more or less when I started thinking more objectively about everything in the past and the present and what my future ideals are, whatever I want to do in the future. And it's like, I did realize, oh shit, I was at fault whenever this went awry. I was at fault whenever this didn't go as planned. This is where I went wrong. And a lot of people sadly don't get to that point.
No, and it's funny that you say that in during COVID, in the spiritual worlds, like I say, I follow a lot of TikTok, and TikTok will just swamp you with whatever algorithm you're in. And I was on Spiritual Talk for a while, and it talks about the Great Awakenings. And I think it's funny because, like, you have the tin hat people that are like, oh my God, COVID was this, and it was this, and it was that, and it was a horrible thing, it was meant to disrupt humanity. But it happened in such a way that we were all quarantined with ourselves, and it caused this great awakening for a lot of people who were ready to awaken.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, it leads to a lot of change within ourselves, and it leads to a lot of, political issues now too, because now we're seeing things from a different standpoint, however we came out of that situation. So you are part of many that we have identified as a great awakening.
So it's a great awakening for sure, but also circumstantially here and there, I've fallen back to old habits here and there. I think that's part of being human for sure.
Absolutely.
But also I think I'm a better person. Like when I say I've awakened, like I'm not saying I'm completely there.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm better than anybody at all, but I know that I found a better road. I'm gonna make mistakes anyway here and
Right,
there
yeah.
from time to time. I get it. I'm gonna try not to.
Right.
But I had an awakening of a sort by myself, you know. But it's
It's like you can get up and take that piss now.
Yeah.
We have that. Yeah, it. What I like to tell people, it's like when you have a baby and they're learning to walk. First of all, they need the tummy time. They need to get their arms up strength. You need to get their arm strength up so they can crawl and get the leg strength. And then they get the leg strength. Then they need help every which way to stand up. And now they start walking. How many times does a baby fall before they learn how to walk? And that's what's happening with people's mindsets. And on top of that, we're not just walking, dude. It's like when you're an adult and in charge of a household, you're walking on Legos like half the time. Like, you're gonna beef it a lot of times, and you have to keep going. And again, what is your intention? And where are you wanting to go? What are you wanting to do with that? Remembering why you started, kind of thing.
right.
And the world around us, that's really hard for those of us who have like the power to vote. We look at the world around us and it doesn't necessarily reflect the world within us. And I think that's where we get the political turmoil, where we have to change that. And we have to stay strong, at least keep that faith so that the next generations can do it. But being awake, and that's, you started it. You started what you were doing. You started that, and you're acknowledging that. And acknowledging, dude, is half the power.
I know for sure. I mean, some of those mistakes or mishaps for sure made me lose my self-worth. Definitely did. And then sometime after that, I'm like, you know what? No, I'm good. I'm gonna stop taking those missteps that I've taken or whatever the fuck, you know. And it also helps with who I hang out with, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
the energies around you.
I think I'm in a better place for sure. No, I don't think. I know I'm in a better place,
Yeah.
and my mindset is. Again, I'm gonna make my mistakes, but my mindset is pretty direct right now.
Yeah, no, that's great. And knowing what happened and analyzing these moments in our lives that we're not exactly proud of, we can get the most out of them by making them learning experiences. When I talk to people about relationship advice, I like to, again, relate to puppies. And puppies don't know about their teeth when they're wrestling with each other. And they have to bite on each other as their teeth are coming in. It feels good for them, for the puppy doing the biting, but it doesn't feel good for the puppy getting bit on. And they have to understand all that. I can see as the days go on and these puppies are getting bigger and realizing they're learning bite sensitivity.
Yeah.
They have these sparring partners, and they learn how to defend themselves, and they learn how to act, and they learn that, hey, I can't bite somebody that hard. I can't, and they learn that from one another. And so when we're young and we're dating, we're having these sparring partners. And the deeper that relationship hits us, the deeper we're going to learn about ourselves. So I think it's healthy that people date. I think it's healthy that people break up. I think it's healthy that you learn from one another and give gratitude for being that sparring partner, for showing me that I could mess up that way, showing me that I could be that pissed off, showing me that I can, and stuff that we wouldn't necessarily do on our own. I think it's really healthy that we learn from those mistakes and really make the most out of those unfortunate situations.
The lessons learned that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
I think I've personally learned to what extent I'm willing to love and go all in for sure.
Yeah, I've seen you grow with that. That's really, really cool. Really, really amazing.
Because we've talked about that.
Yeah, we've talked about that at length. Yeah, and sometimes man, I remember like that. The message for you was like simple, but the thought and the concept was like mind blowing. And you couldn't have come to that conclusion if you weren't ready. Point blank. So many people I cannot read because they're just not ready to hear that message. Simple. And then you have been over and over and over again. I've seen that.
And I'm still trying to figure it out.
Right.
But I'm in a better place.
Exactly.
I'm still trying to figure it out. And like I said, I've said it 3 times at this point. I'm going to keep on making mistakes. But I do want to get to the point where, you know what? This is it. I found it.
Yeah. Well,
But
my thoughts on our existence and what the meaning of life is experience.
mm-hmm.
Let's say we are back to the idea that we're all this water droplets, and we have to like work ourselves back into that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, back into that body of water. Let's say we each have like a little bit of contamination from wherever we came from.
Right.
And we have to now cleanse ourselves enough to rejoin that body of water and not like be toxic to it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are our crosses to bear, whether it's the parents that we had, the trials and tribulations we had, whatever abuse we went through, whatever went on. We have to raise our vibration and be the purest form of ourselves, so that when we are re-met with our maker, we're at our highest good. That's how I see it. And you can't do that without experience. When you're tuning a guitar, you have to go through all the wrong notes first
Mm-hmm.
before you get to the right one.
For sure.
And then you get to the right one, and you play for a while, and you have to retune it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same concept. We have to constantly tune ourselves to the right one, and it takes that tightening, that loosening, and that's all of those ideas. That's all of those, experiences that we have.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go through those so that we can play at the right vibration in harmony with the rest of the world.
I was wondering, as far as how you're in tune with everything as a medium like that, I was wondering how, not so much as a medium myself, because I'm not, but I'm wondering how much of that is the same frequency as music, because there's been times where I've got one particular piece of music that I've written and recorded where I tuned the guitar in a different manner, a particular way,
Mm-hmm.
and the music came at me instantly. I found my place on the guitar quick,
Mm-hmm.
having never tuned the guitar to that
Mm-hmm.
tuning before, and just it's like I tapped into a certain frequency
Yes.
that just fucking came out of nowhere, like it somehow existed
So there's
before.
2 studies that I want to illuminate for you. One is the study on dementia
Mhm.
and music being played for dementia patients.
Mhm.
Have you seen the results of that?
Mm-mm.
There's this one lady, I saw the video and I cried. She's a very old woman. She's in a wheelchair. She's almost like she's typical sad looking human in a wheelchair in a nursing home situation, where she's just kind of, her eyes are vacant, you know, she's really not there. She used to be a ballerina, and they play Swan Lake for her.
Mhm.
And as she's listening to this, she's doing the hand motions, and you could, if you're a creative, you can see the heart and the
Mhm.
passion she has. She can't necessarily move her legs, but she's still moving her arms. The music brought her right back. And so
Right.
there's nursing homes now and these special patient homes that are working with people with dementia that use music to help boost these people. And for those moments, the sound
Bring something back.
brings back something in their memory, and they're trying to break that. They're trying to
Mhm.
figure out what is going on there. I mean, look at us, especially those of us 80s babies that grew up with movies and music everywhere. And even now, kids with the TikTok, we have sound bites. Our brain processes things in sound bites. And what are 2 clips that give off the same energy? Like, we do that all the time. I just learned to speak in sound bites, and that I find so many people can relate.
Mhm.
There is something absolutely there with that. The other study is done on vibrations and a sand, like grains of sand. And essentially what they'll do is, I've seen like this plate placed over or hovering over like a speaker. And they'll place certain frequencies underneath that plate of sand. And there's patterns that
Mhm.
arise in the sand.
I've seen those videos. Yeah.
And those are super cool.
Geometric patterns.
Yes. There's another with tears that are analyzed under a microscope, whether they're tears of joy or sadness, and they have different shapes within them. They're completely different.
Wow.
And I think the sadness one had more jagged edges, where the happy one had more swirls. And those are patterns. It almost looked like a weird Fibonacci sequence. So there is something to vibration. There is something to emotion. And how, I mean, if our bodies are all water, how we're responding to that. It's super, super phenomenal. I love that, and I love music myself. There's things, I have like a ton of different channels on my Pandora because I need to do certain things. There's times where I'm reading and I like to have music on sometimes when I'm reading for people. And sometimes I'll tell them, hey, give me your favorite station, or what music do you like to hear, your favorite artist. I'll start a station and I'll be reading, and the music will match up to my message for them. And I don't know it, you know, it just happens, and I can't exactly explain it, but that really drives that home for them. I'm so grateful for that, because now the message I just given them, every time they hear that song, they're gonna stick with that positive message.
So to put that into perspective, though, with the tears, can you imagine what carrying a negative vibe will do to your body as a whole?
Absolutely.
So that's
Well, now in my age, I'm dealing with genetic inheritances, and I'm dealing with like diseases that I carry because of my genetics, and these autoimmune diseases that a lot of people have, where doctors, fibromyalgia is not considered an autoimmune disease. I have diverticulitis, and that was genetic, where my intestines are just not happy with stuff, and I can't eat a lot of things. That's genetic. And in the spiritual world, you're going to have like so many people tell you it's because you're holding things in, and you're this, and you're not processing, you're that. I can dissect that so many ways, but there is something said to there is a tie to that. I don't want to like put my tinfoil hat on for that, but there is a tie.
So as we read Adrienne's cards, you want to listen to Hanson?
How'd you know?
Okay.
There you go. And this over to you, Doc.
Hi, Adrienne.
Hey, what's up, Didi? I heard that this type of information's important. Like when I just didn't want to say like that much info.
I don't necessarily need all that, but that can help.
Oh, okay.
What day? Like, where are you? Do you know any of your other sun signs, moon signs, any of that fun stuff?
All I know is I'm an Aquarius. That's all I know.
I'm so sorry. I'm just sorry because right now we're going through a full super blue moon in Aquarius. And the last several months for us Aquarians, I'm an Aquarius moon, meaning that placement is about our emotions and how we process information.
Okay.
So you and I have that very whimsical look on life. You being a Aquarius sun sign. And I'm not going to try and bore you with the rest of your stuff. If you want all that stuff, I have apps I can look at for you. I'm not a very versed astrologist, but I like to follow these things because, again, if we're all made out of water and the moon has power over the tides, what does it have for us? There's a reason why all of the planets, especially in old Greek mythology, they were all named and they all have stuff. I mean, these studies go, they're ancient studies. And like we're in a Mercury retrograde. Mercury is about communications, and we had issues with our cameras. I had issues with, earlier today, all communication stuff. They're just vibes. So like I always think like, okay, each planet has its own vibe. What vibe does the Earth give off? Maybe that's why we humans are here to try and raise the vibration of the Earth, because it's fucking up the entire solar system. I don't know. But So right now, you are in a very transformative state right off the bat, just as an Aquarius. And you're dealing with a lot of inner, like, ideals. There, and it's not so much you know the concepts, it's just that you said that you were going to do this stuff, but now life is coming at you, and you're like, okay, but how do I have this, I know what I want to do, and I've been doing okay with this, but I have all this other stuff coming in around me, and how do I make this work? How do I stick true to what I said I was going to do and who I said I was going to be? And how's that ringing? And
I think that's everybody.
Absolutely. All right.
But before I just wanted to interject on the frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys heard about that one supposedly military grade equipment that like makes crowds, like it's a crowd container where it hits you in a certain frequency where it makes you nauseous?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was like, yeah, the frequencies is totally a thing. Yeah.
And if I put my tinfoil hat on, that was like started like in the World War II kind of situations. There's a lot of these studies,
wow.
and there's actually FBI papers that were published, and a lot of them deal with metaphysics and how all that affects. So there is a lot, and who knows. There was people that were so against the cell phone towers because of the vibrations that they emit. And why are Americans so fat all the time? So there you get a lot of that. So you're absolutely right, that can happen, and vibrations can. I mean, anytime you call somewhere, the music that they play is like there's a reason why they play calm music, because if you're calling for customer service somewhere, you're probably not very calm.
Mm-hmm.
And the wait time has also been analyzed on how long you can wait before you hang up, and how long you can wait until you're relaxed.
Just going to Disneyland or Disney World, there's scents and sights and colors. And
absolutely.
They did their research for sure.
yeah. I'm a huge Mad Men fan.
Oh yeah.
And that advertising and how they just the drive for money, but it opened up so much like studies for how we live our lives and how we. And even me, as someone who has chosen a path of help, of assistance, I have to be careful how I carry myself. And for a long time, I didn't want to say about my night job because I didn't want it to turn people off. But at the same time, I've helped so many people within that industry that I can't really deny it, and I'm not trying to anymore. But yeah, like I was really concerned about how I'm going to get perceived. Because I want to make myself accessible to people. Not so much that I want to take their money, but I really, really want to help. So you're absolutely right. There's a lot of different things that can influence people. And I think for you right now, there's, you're not sure what, there's a lot of stuff coming at you, and you're not sure exactly, like, you want to take the next step, but do I keep, as an Aquarius right now, you do want to take the next step. You want to keep going with what you're going with. There's some thoughts that you had, some ideas that you had, and you have not been able to materialize those because life. And this is stuff like 2017 and like in that area, that now you're going to have a much more open road because you've stuck to your guns. But are you ready for your reading?
I'm down.
And you've never had your cards read?
Nope.
Okay. So, I'm going to start with this deck. This is the part where I usually like explain who I am and what I do, but we've already established that. So, one reason I was a little late today is I was preparing. I do, for those of you who might see, I have like a little medicine bag that I carry around. Yeah, it's got a lot of different crystals, and the crystals are all for something. Sometimes my querent, the person asking the question, is called a querent.
Oh, okay, I'm a querent. Okay.
The querent with a Q. Sometimes I'll have them hold the crystals. I do also use my book a bit more. I've had this deck for about 17 years. But I do use the booklet because I have the clair audience or the clair like visual where a word will just jump out.
Oh wow.
Or I'll hear as I'm reading these. And one quick thing about the cards were found in the 1400s by merchants, and there were these big old cards, and they had a bunch of faces and images on them, and nobody really knew what they were. Okay, Adrienne, I'm going to have you shuffle those as many times as you think you want to.
Sure.
And the cards had all these pictures on them, and people were like the merchants, and we're talking about people coming and going on ships, like really bored and stuff. They were like, they'd pick up the cards and start making songs. Like they would drop a few and make songs about somebody and sitting in the circle and whatever. And that's kind of how they were like, oh god, we're now divinating stuff. And the traditional tarot deck, which is this one right here, was drawn by a young girl around that time as well. But some people speculate, some tin hats say that they are the pages of the lost book of Thoth. And we're getting into ancient Egyptian lore or history. And the book of Thoth is essentially the book of Jesus, or the story of Jesus. And each page depicts the aspects that man goes through. So you have 21 major arcana. These are the face cards. You get the devil card, the sun card, the moon card. Then you have the 4 suits, usually king through ace. And those are the minor arcana. And altogether you have a traditional tarot deck, which I have 2 here. I also have the Natwali Animal Oracle, and the Oracle doesn't follow the same format as far as face cards, major or minor arcana. This one's really cool. It's just a bunch of animal totems with a few of the ancient Aztec and Mayan gods and goddesses that I like to pull from. All right, sir. Do you have a question in mind, or you don't have to say it out loud?
Huh.
Or would you like the cards to just give you your advice?
I'll let the cards do all the talking.
All right, that's what I like to hear. No pressure. So, I like to drop a 9 spread. So we start off with you, a situation, and guidance on that situation. So right now, with our 10 of coins, right side up, our 10 of coins is about abundance. And we have a couple, living in harmony with everything around them. And then now we're upside down. So our abundance and our stability, the people around us is not, it's not who they used to be. And we feel like this woman, the 2 of swords, her dress is made of feathers, but yet her hands are tied behind her back, and she's got that spider coming down. She can leave, but she doesn't. She's like, oh my god, again, how do I get out of here? And you're trying to wiggle your way out of these situations around people that maybe were taking away, or you felt they were really cool, and now they're not very cool. And you're kind of out of that, and you're finding yourself at a lot more prosperous space with the Sun card. And this Sun card depicts Jesus Christ, which I think is kind of funny because a lot of Christians don't believe in tarot, but if you know the meaning of Jesus and the way the light will always prevail, it's illuminating a lot of things and a lot of paths and a lot of things that you maybe didn't see before. You being very studious and paying attention and loyal to your cause is what's going to anchor your financial stability and your creative stability right now. And that's what's going to bring the harmony. And in this harmony card, the Ten of Cups, it depicts a little community. And the way I like to describe this card is like, in every house there's a family. And in every family there's kids, and those kids are not getting along. But it's still a family. It's still a happy community. Somebody's upset, somebody's happy, somebody's celebrating a birthday, somebody's mourning, but it's still a community. And so when we talk about the community within ourselves, within our souls, there's going to be stuff that we're pining over, stuff that we're mourning, stuff that we're excited for. And this is kind of where you're finding yourself right now. And I think with the illumination of this situation kind of breaking up, it's allowed you, it's kind of moved out of your way. So it's not casting a shadow on some of the better parts of this community within yourself. We have the Four of Wands, meaning it's time to kind of take a respite. You might want to feel that you got to keep going, especially because like you have a lot of opportunities right now to like keep going, but it's reminding you that maybe you've worked a little bit too much and you should try to enjoy more of this community that is around you within yourself. You don't have to shove yourself back into this to the situations that you were in before, that now is the time to stop and smell the roses and to live more at peace. Actually enjoy some of the stuff that you have harvested. We have the Seven of Coins in reverse. Right side up, it's like a picture of a sailboat, which is the most stagnant thing like ever. There's like nothing happening. And you feel kind of like, well, I really want to go because nothing really happened before, and now I have an opportunity. And what this is reminding you here with the 2 card, a major arcana card, is resources. This woman is very resourceful. It's about instincts, and it's about feeling your way out of stuff. And right now you're still a little disoriented from the stuff going on, which is what I was trying to explain before about being, you don't really know how to go forward, and you have all the stuff, and do I go forward? Now is just the time to take stock and see things. Let your eyes adjust to that sunlight that is before you, that is illuminating these flowers, and it's letting you know that there is harmony. And where you feel that you had everything in the past and you might not have it now, you still have it, but you're going to have it now in a healthier dose. Because having an abundance is great, which is the Ten of Coins, like our initiating card. Having that is great, but if we don't know what to do with that, we tend to squander that. And I think you've learned your lessons here as we recall the Princess of Coins. She's worth her weight in gold, and she's a really loyal friend, but most importantly, she is a student of life, and she lets life happen. And this is where we kind of want to be. And right in the center of all of this, Adrienne, is our Ace of Coins card, which is a good financial start, a solid financial start. We have a big hearty tree with this face in the center of it. It's a personality. So whatever this is, that you've watered it, you've given it its own energy in your life, and it's growing its roots. And there's times that needs to just be. So right now, when you feel that you've kind of got to go this direction or that direction, you're not sure like where this is going, it's time to take stock of your resources, of who you are, and again, reiterate your intentions right now. How are we doing with this first 9 cards drop?
Sounds accurate.
Okay. Anything you want to add or say? You don't have to.
No. No, I'm good.
Is there something that you want clarification on, or maybe a few more cards on from this? You can think about that now. You don't have to say it out loud, but we can drop a few more cards for this.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the bottom of the deck, I will say we have the Dreamer card. Some readers like to read the bottom of the deck, and this is the ambiance under which we're reading, kind of like what the feeling is around you. And the Dreamer card is the Initiator card, number 0. This is also the Fool card in many decks. Starting a new journey. You're kind of going in places in a direction you really haven't gone before. And that's kind of exciting. We have the Queen of Wands in reverse. Again, not using all our resources. And, our Prince of Cups, right side up, and Kali. Okay, so I want to inquire for my Queen of Wands in reversed, because we seem to have that covered. If I learn to count, I've had this deck forever and I always lose my pace in this booklet.
Just out of curiosity, Didi, have you ever done this on a podcast before? Or is this your first reading on a podcast?
I've done several readings on podcasts before.
You broke my heart for you.
I'm sorry, but this is the first time we actually recorded it video.
Oh, okay.
And it was like recorded. I've read and then they cropped it out and then they put it back in. So yeah, so you guys are the ones like willing to put this out right now. Okay, so for our Queen in reverse. Makes sense. You've done a lot of work in this situation with this new illumination. You don't want to let go of stuff because of all the resources that it took to get you there. It's a little bit of a stubbornness. I don't want to say you're full of yourself, but most of us are. We're humans.
Rene will tell you otherwise.
Right. Our Prince of Cups, this is actually an image, a painting of Narcissus. And if you know any of your Greek history, Narcissus was a beautiful man, and he was on his way to marry the love of his life, and the forests were going to meet and canoodle or something, and he saw himself for the first time in a reflective pool of water. And he was so, wow, that's me? I'm so beautiful. And he falls in and drowns in his own beauty. And his lover is left, sad and lonely and whatever, unfulfilled. So when we have the Prince of Cups, we do have a very loveliness. And we do have this sweet, but almost too sweet. And we have the dream and the vision that you have created here that kind of shifted on you. You're still in love with what that was. But it's time to let it go. We have here the Tower card. And this is also a depiction of Kali. And Kali is a goddess, and I can't tell you where she's from exactly. She will give life and she will also take it away. And if we go biblical with it, it's whatever was not built on solid ground will fall. Right? If your castle was built on unsolid ground, it'll fall. And that's kind of where you're at right now. You have to take the knowledge that you've learned thus far, and there's some bricks that you can reuse from this tower, and there's some that you cannot. And there's also the situation that you yourself are not the same person. And your environment and those that you're around are not the same situations. If anything, you're now at a better place to build something bigger and better, knowing what you know now. So I want to ask my Natwali Animal Oracle, just because it's a fun deck, and it illuminates a lot of ideas from pre-colonized belief systems. one as well. Here you go.
So the first thing that I thought of when I saw this Kali card,
Yeah.
this is how much of a geek and movie nerd I am.
I love it.
It reminds me of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Wasn't the god or the thing they were
Yes.
worshiping was Kali?
Was it Kali?
Yeah, I think we was doing Kali Mad and he pulls out the heart.
Oh,
I'm thinking
maybe.
Kaliman.
Oh, was it?
Because if you look at this
Now we
card,
have to- now, who's in
Let me look it up.
am I allowed to?
Well, those are my favorite movies. I just can't remember.
Because if you look at the card, doesn't that look like the bad guy in Temple of Doom? That's what well, the female version of it.
Does this lesson that you're learning feel like your heart is being ripped out? Like letting go of some of these things? Does it feel like
No.
That's good. That's
Well,
good.
it's just what he was chanting, but his name was actually Mola Ram.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you see, there you go.
Oh, okay. So he was saying something with Kali. Okay. Because I saw this and immediately thought Temple of Doom, but hey, maybe that is
Right?
maybe there's a subconscious.
I love this deck. It's one of my first decks, and the artist is a collage artist, and they have taken images like this is a very famous statue, and this is like they take very famous paintings and they like chop them up, right? Like the image of Jesus and all that stuff. So they create in the sentiment of each card, because each card. Like this card, this deck and this deck are formatted the same, just the images are different. But I really like this one because it will jog your memory to certain things. And whatever you see or feel, whatever emotion you feel when you see the image, should strike something for you.
Oh.
It should. So there's a bit of fantasy in there and a bit of like, oh gosh, like this feeling of having something torn away from you, especially with the sentiment of this card.
I don't think it was so much my heart. It's just the fact that I kind of looked like the Asian short round from Temple of Doom. I don't think it was more sentimental. I think it was just me being goofy. But maybe subconsciously.
That checks.
Maybe I don't know.
That checks.
That's just me being
some advice going forward. The owl, and the my right side up. Oh no, we're good. We're backwards. Bad. Awesome. So we are talking about a death, but we're also talking about the vulture. And in tarot decks, I will say, because a lot of people are like, oh my god, the death card, someone's going to die. People die every single day. That's not what we're talking about. The death card usually is about that cycle that we have to do. Something has to die in order for it to be reborn. And when we're talking about crazy religions and the sacrifices, they actually take those sacrifices and it's that life that transmutes that energy that you're putting out there. When we're talking about manifestation, you have to let go of that. Energy can be created or destroyed, but it can't be transferred. So we're looking at what are we holding on to that we need to let go so we can transfer that to positive energy again, right? We can't necessarily kill that off. That has to be a transference. So this is the owl card. This is about transferring that energy from what it was to now that's something that is maybe more useful to you now. It is going to feel a bit like a death. Then we have the vulture card, and the vulture is in this deck not like most people think. Oh my god, a vulture is only around when something dies. Yes, but it also makes a feast of what has died, and it's about gifts and you winning when something has transmuted its energy and you picking off what you can off of that. Again, we were talking about making the most out of a sour situation and learning the most from you can. There's a lot of food for you, a lot of gifts for you in that death that you're going to be experiencing or that you're kind of going through. There's so much that you learned, and this reiterates here about that path being illuminated, and you can see so much more of that now that you have your experience. How is that ringing for you?
Sounds about right, especially like these two cards, because you're talking about how like death and repair. Well, like our mitochondrial cells, like in our
Yes.
body, like they go through this thing called autophagy,
Yes.
where they like repair the dead cells
Yes.
and use those bad cells as energy.
Yes.
So that's when I look at, well, when you describe these two cards to me, I'm thinking, oh, it's autophagy
Yes.
in our mitochondrial cells.
Yes, this is a very natural process.
Yeah.
People are like, oh my god, it's not, or whatever. No, it's a very, very natural process. You're absolutely right. It's the same thing. And so as within, so without, as above, so below. When we talk about the Fibonacci sequence, it's the same sequence. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's exactly right. And we cannot necessarily stay stagnant. And this is why we have so many issues, because so many people can't let go of stuff. Even though our bodies want to be different, want to grow, want to expand, want to evolve, our minds sometimes don't let us because we're stuck to certain ideas. So you are going through another cycle here. And how are you feeling? Do you
Good.
want any more clarification, or do you want is there another question maybe?
No, I think that's. I don't know. Is there anything else I should know?
I do want to just curiosity. Okay, the Jaguar.
That was my favorite club till they closed it.
I know. Well, you're gonna get Jaguars too. You're gonna get Chicas Locas.
Oh, okay. Well,
You're getting Chicas Locas. Same,
All right.
same thing now. Jaguars, man. I started at Jaguars. Like, how come we used to make like a ton of money? No, it's not the same.
used to be the Parthenon, I think.
Yeah, it was the
Jaguars.
Parthenon.
We're talking about church studies, guys. All right. It was religious.
So we have the Jaguar, and the Jaguar is such a coveted card in this deck, and I think that's why I was like, my hands were twitching. I'm like, you sure nothing else? Because there's something else. Power, authority, courage, and twilight. Again, comes at the twilight, just before the dawn of a new day. So in this deck, and in a lot of practices, like I said, I practice the Toltec way. They have the ocelot, which is the day stalker, and this is how we stalk our prey. We observe it, and we observe it, and we observe it. And so in hunter-gatherer times, and for hunter-gatherers, you have to understand your prey. We were just talking about how we are prey to the advertising companies. We are there. They will stalk us. They will learn everything about us. And when we come to the Jaguar, because that's the ocelot, and when we come to the Jaguar, that is the nighttime, and that is when it's all dark, we still know what we're looking at. And that's where the power comes in, because you already know the knowledge, and it's the time for action then. That's when, after you've done all your studying, and again, we've talked about being a good student of life. And so your time for action is just at its twilight. It's just coming. And you have to stand strong in the knowledge that you've just learned. It's coming, and you're going to be able to make that pounce really soon.
So it's not telling me that I focus better at night. It's just telling me that I'm almost at that point.
Yeah, dude, you still got astigmatism. You can't see shit at night. You still got that.
You're just saying that because I look Asian.
Oh, is that why you were squinting? I'm sorry. I thought you were...
Back to that short round reference.
I thought it was the...
No time for love, Dr. Jones. But, sorry, man. I goof around a lot. I'm so sorry. But, no, okay.
That's a fun one right there.
So this is more of a timing thing. It's not like an actual literal nocturnal thing that I should be focusing on. It's just, it's coming.
It can be. It can be if the nighttime resonates with you. It definitely can. Because there are other... See, when I drop cards, when I'm reading, just for the sake of the podcast, there's different cards that mean... They all mean different things. But, for example, the respite card. There's one that means that you have to take a rest because you're sick. We didn't drop that one. We dropped that one, meaning that there's a bunch of flowers around. Not that you're sick and need a rest. There's a card about graduation and studies, but we're not there. We're still learning. Why we dropped this one? There's a card about us squandering our assets, but we're not talking about squandering our assets when we had them. We're talking about that there's an ebb and flow to our abundance, and as long as we have what we need. So there's a lot of different ways that I can drop stuff. There is a card for power and not using your power unjustly. But we're talking about it's twilight. And so if the nighttime specifically has something for you, then that's how we're going to know. And that's why maybe if we are talking about the nighttime, that's why this daylight and everything coming out to the daylight is a little jarring for us, or a little, we can't always see because we're used to working with limited knowledge, or like more of a darker, outlook on life. So again, there's a lot of different ways that this can be read, but there's a reason we drop those cards. So if nighttime sticks with you.
Okay.
Awesome. How are you feeling?
Good.
Good.
Good, yeah.
Good. I'm proud of you, dude. You've done some work, and you got some big projects and some big opportunities coming right up, and you're gonna have to be solid in your approach to these. You did earn these. So don't, you're still not out of harm's way, but you're so much more poised than you think you are to really accept these opportunities coming your way.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really good to hear.
Awesome. Rene?
What's going on? I'm still here, folks.
Yeah, so, wow, that wasn't as intimidating as I thought it would be.
No, I know, I'm not that intimidated. People think it's just the resting bitch face, bro.
Oh, no.
No, not at all.
You read that card wrong. Jeez.
Alright, sorry. I don't have resting bitch face. Alright. I'm just...
I would have told you that, but... No, it's just... there's just... Like, I think there was a lot of arrogance when I was younger towards stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I think just I've opened up my mind towards the possibility that there's a lot of stuff I do. I forgot who said it. I think it was Socrates or Plato. He said, the only thing I don't know is I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Right? So I forgot which so
The only thing I know is I don't know anything.
the only thing I know is I don't know anything. So
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff that, even when it comes to medicine, like modern medicine, like a lot of that stuff has been derived from like medicine, like plant stuff, like what plants do. So we just found a way to make money off of it.
Right? and patent it, and now that we know about people, we're going to manipulate that.
And I never thought I would do this. It was never for like a spiritual or like religious reasons or anything like that. I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, all right, let's
give this a shot.
Let's give this a shot. Let's see what it's all about.
I'm glad I popped a cherry.
You did.
In the card.
So.
Woo! I need to put a little notch. I don't like to. There's different types of readers and different types of psychics, and they can like tell exactly like things, people, places, and I don't do that. I'm not exactly that type. This is the type I'm at. It's like about the energy. It's about the vibe. Where we're coming and where we want to go. So, how about we do this? One little thing with the cards. It might be fun for your listeners. Sorry.
I'm down.
One little thing for your listeners. We're going to ask them to pick 1, 2, or 3 whenever you're hearing this podcast. This message is something, a little guidance, a little message. Nothing too invasive, just a little message. So let me shuffle these up real quick. And essentially you pick 1, 2, or 3. Pile 1, 2, or 3. If you want to stop and listen to all 3, you can't pick a number, that's fine too. Sometimes I like to read other people's horoscopes to see what my friends are going through.
Well, that's good of you. It's
It's
sweet.
nice. I'm like, oh, My Libra friend is struggling today. Okay. So sometimes, understanding the other cards or, seeing what's going on for other people.
While you're still shuffling, I just have a very quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Do you feel that women are more in tune with this type of stuff than men?
I thought that for a while, but I've seen some phenomenal male readers. So, unfortunately, I think that's going to default more to culture. And American men traditionally are like having to shut their energies off, their intuitive energies off a lot, because they have to be more practical, more pragmatic. And if we talk about the American economy system, men have to fucking shut up and go to work, suck it up and go to work. And women are stuck with the children, or where the more we have time to go with our emotions. Not to mention we have a whole cycle of hormones that are in and out of our bodies. We have to.
Yeah.
We have to face this stuff. So I think it's going to be more of a cultural thing. But that would, in our culture, it would mean that women are more receptive or more
in tune,
susceptible to that. Yeah.
I think we were talking about that off the podcast, is that women had to be that way because you just had to know your surroundings. You had to be like, oh, is this guy like safe to be around with? Is he like, yeah, like fucking so crazy. That's why I asked. Like, is that why you're?
Is that why I'm too? I don't know. So I talk with my dad, and my dad is a social worker, and we talked about how he can read people, and how he'll just deliver, like he'll just read you. And I laughed because I'm like, that's funny, because I do that with people. I don't necessarily need the cards. And that practice is called plática, where we talk. And after talking with people, I can get all the information. And
is it maneuvering the information or the conversation, or is it just? It's
a little bit of both. Like what I feel, and sometimes messages just come. So it can be hereditary. It can be some of the stuff I think you can teach, and some of the stuff, again, like if you're chemically shut off to it, or your culture doesn't, has, not allowed you to go in this direction, but your culture is enough for you, then there's, then you don't need cards. You don't need. If you look at your best friend, and when they're having a good day, when they're having a bad day, you just look at people. If you were a kid that grew up on the streets, when it's a good place to go into, when it's not a good place to go into, when you should be out, just by looking at people. That is something that some of us do a lot faster or at a deeper level. It's the same stuff, and it can be taught. And it can be untaught as well, or it can be like blocked off. Okay, so let's see. If you chose card number 1, we're going to go with the moon. Beware of gossip. Beware of people talking behind your back. Things that are being done in the dark will always be brought to the light. So if you're catching yourself listening to things that maybe, sometimes the gossip is really juicy, but if that person's gossiping with you about somebody else, they're gossiping about you to somebody else. Be careful with that. There's also the effects of the moon. Like tomorrow, wherever you're hearing this, you may have had some big issues happening with this full moon. I know this isn't going to come out during the full moon time, enough time for that person to hear that message, but if that's the case, understand that there's a lot of stuff that just is not in your control. And you can only control yourself and how you behave. And if you're not sure of something, wait for that cycle to be over. Wait till that sun comes out for you to act. So there's some shady stuff about, and just watch yourself there. You're not in control of all of it. If you chose card or deck number 2, We have the Vulture card again, which is also awesome when it comes to our new cycles. The Vulture card finds feast in the decay. They also fly very, very high and then swirl down almost like a ritual before they eat. And they call everyone else to that table. If you find yourself, with reason to celebrate, find your friends and celebrate with them. It's going to make it all that much better. Don't forget that there's other people going through the similar struggles as you are. And don't forget to get the most out of your learning experiences. Celebrate those too. Deck number 3, we have the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is very resourceful. You are being called to be the big sister, be the big brother. You're being called to use your knowledge, even though you're pretty good at what you do, but you're not like the best at what you do. You might have some feelings, you might have that imposter syndrome going on, but your humility, your light, your knowledge is needed by other people right now. Share that and know that you're doing it for a noble cause. You're not being self-righteous. You're not being too much for other people. We need you. We need your goodness. We need your lessons that you have learned. So if someone's asking for help, please give it. And those are our cards.
Awesome.
Fun. Wow.
So you can reach me at my awesome Didi, MyAwesomedidi. Those are all my handles. I have Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and that's my Cash App too.
My awesome Didi. And then, so real quick, where does Chica Chancluda come from?
Chica Chancluda is... So that's my personal page, and I was trying to hide from certain people. I don't want to necessarily but it's out there because it's a funny name.
I think I remember you telling me about that. Now that you say that,
but it comes from me wearing Chuck Taylors my whole life and not ever changing. When you wear them because they look like crap, and you can't. They have to look all
they're
beat
supposed
up.
to look worn for sure.
And my grandma would call me, esas chanclas, mira, anda está chancluda, esas chanclas. So that's why it was Chica Chancluda. And this is a time where all the rockabilly kids are coming up with their cool names and all this other stuff, and I was just like, nah, I'm just gonna sound kind of just who's that? It's just a name, but that's where the chanclas come from.
Yeah, I had a pair of Chucks that I bought whenever I first took Mijo to Disneyland. It was a black pair of Chucks with red hints here and there. The perfect pair of Chucks. It was those with the elastic laces that you could just slip on.
Yeah.
And I haven't found that pair again, but it was such a badass pair of shoes. Those were comfy. They had more insole, a little bit more. Yeah. But those, I wore them till the sole was flapping.
Dude, I had these awesome. They were black Chucks, double tongue. One tongue was silver, and on the other tongue was basic black, but on the inside it had little white stars. Mm-hmm. And the inside had like stars, and the laces were like silver with little stars on them. They were so badass. They were chewed on by puppies. The soles were melted because I was near a motorcycle. Like, I wore those until the damn thing was talking. I have history working in a boot factory, and I have some of that glue, and I glued them back together, and I couldn't do nothing about them no more. I can't find anything like them anymore. I know what you mean, man. It's sad. Sad. You find the perfect pair of Chucks, and it's like once in a lifetime.
Yeah, mine were flapping on my right foot.
Yeah, dude.
And that's when I finally decided to toss them out.
And they don't flap because they're cheap. They flap because you worn out. Mm-hmm. Like whatever part of the rubber was bonded together.
That's how many miles you put into them.
Dude, man, they were slippery. I couldn't even wear them anywhere. Yeah.
And I've even told Ryan that you're supposed to wear Chucks to that point to where they're worn out. So now I'm using my first pair of Jordans I bought at 43. I'm wearing them right now. And Ryan's like, dude, you got creases. I'm like, I don't give a shit about creases. I'm wearing my shoes to wear them.
Dude, remember we
But-
used to go out as kids and like you'd step in a puddle and your shoes were like all beat up, your socks were all wet. You had to go through a whole day like that. Did we complain? No.
Nope. That's the worst feeling ever. Wet socks is one of my biggest.
Icks.
Yep. And then try working in, I'll make the sure, but try working in Montana in negative, I think it was negative 19, the coldest when I worked there, with like 4 or 5 feet of snow. And we bought wool socks.
Yeah.
Like the wool socks are supposed to be the best for the winter. I guess they work on some people. On me, they would roll down to my toes. I don't know if it was my boots or what, but they'd get soaking wet too.
Oh
and
my god, no.
the worst feeling ever. But yeah.
Man. We were kids in high school in the 90s. You know the little ring on the side of your chucks, the air holes, right? They always fall off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we would play hacky sack, all this other stuff. So we would always lose those. We would trade them with one another. Like, that was our, hey, you want this? Oh, yeah. You put it on a pin. Safety pins were really popular. We always had, like, little rings from all your friends.
So, do you remember going to the Foot Locker on Zaragoza in front of Kmart?
God.
Yes, I do.
One of the original Foot Lockers that was outside of a mall.
Yeah.
So I remember my mom buying me Chucks there when we were kids for like less than $20, I think.
Dude.
And now you got to pay $45 and up for them, like.
I was looking for Chucks. I'm looking at paying like $60.
Right.
And I wear kid sizes.
Yeah.
I would get them downtown and they were like $12, $15. So the choclos.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that anymore.
My most recent pair, I did get fortunate that we went to the outlet mall and I found some blue, like the bandana blue with the blue bandana images on them. Badass shoes. I think they were I want to say $45. But whenever they rang them up, they were like way less than they're about 25.
Oh, that's good.
So I got fortunate. That was a win that day.
No kidding, man.
But those wins are few and far between.
Dude, I just want a regular black low top.
Mm-hmm.
I just want a regular black low top, and I got to pay that. They're sitting in my shopping cart online, and I can't press the go button. I can't do it. It's my old school. Like, how am I gonna pay $50 some odd plus shipping for esas chanclas?
They'll last you a long while though.
But then again, I was like, man, I got some big old concerts coming up, and I can't be wearing nothing else. Like,
Funny you say that. Because so I can't remember how many pairs I counted, but I did count at some point. So I just went to since I'm working in San Diego again.
yeah.
I went to the Foo Fighters. They were playing at the baseball stadium.
Oh, nice.
And I saw so many pairs of new Chucks.
Brand new.
Because of course,
dude.
people are like, I'm going to go to a concert. I'm going to buy myself a new pair of Chucks.
And then the age group, of course.
So honestly, I would never take a new pair of Chucks to a concert. No, that's not legit.
See, I would. Because I gotta get them dirty. And I can't, if I get used to, so I used to have two
Right.
pairs of Chucks. The old pair, and then my going out shoes, right?
Mhm.
Like my church shoes. So I had the nice ones. You can't wear those anywhere. You clean those up all the time. But I'm at the point where I don't have a pair of black Chucks right now,
Mhm.
and I need, screw it. Like, I'd rather get all the dings in them now and get stomped on in the mosh pit and go from there.
Yeah, I just feel for those people, it was like an outfit of the day for the concert. Whereas for me, it's an outfit of the day almost every
day.
When I'm not wearing my work boots, it's either Chucks or this recent pair of Jordans.
Yeah.
But it's more often than not my Chucks, sometimes my Vans.
Dude, I've had a hard time finding comfortable shoes. I'm so used to Chuck Taylors, man. I do a lot of weightlifting too, and that's what I would use. I got into barefoot shoes,
Mm-hmm.
and I have small feet, so I could do that. I know some men are like, ew, what the hell, but like, I can still do that, but I miss my Chucks, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying not to, I can't get myself to buy a new pair, because
They're just so versatile too. They go with everything.
everything! I can wear them with a dress, I can wear them with pants, I can wear them. In the wintertime, I finally got my red pair of Doc Marten boots. I wanted those so much when I was a kid. And I finally got my pair. And it took me like 2 seasons to break them in. And I did it. So like, I'm in between those. It's like, I'm an old lady, man. I can't. I think I dress so cool, but no, I dress like an old lady apparently.
We're 43. We're not old anymore. It was old It was old 30, 35 years ago at this point. We're a legit 43. We're
Damn.
a young 43.
We are. Yeah,
So.
I can't. I'm gonna go see Lamb of God. I'll be on the floor. I got VIP floor tickets because it's Lamb of God. And then I gotta go early because I gotta go buy merchandise because every
Right.
time they come through, that's when I get my new T-shirts. I need new Lamb of God T-shirts.
Although, as far as feeling old, we just went to a new bar in Horizon City,
Oh no.
and we both complained that the music was too loud.
I work at a club and the music's too damn loud. It's too damn loud. I'm trying to talk to people and I'm like, I'm sorry, as a stripper, it's the older dudes that have the money. And you guys can't hear me.
You can't hear to begin with.
You can't hear my charm.
Oh man, I feel old sometimes with that. But it's to the music though. Like I think with the music trends, I appreciate that some of the more cultural music is in the forerunning. But also I don't get a lot of the other music. It reminds me of like, remember in the 80s you had like the soft rock era and like the really, and I can't imagine a lot of people going, oh my god, this is like a great song. But that's what I hear right now. It's a lot of soft pop.
Rock's gonna come back, I'm sure.
It will. It will.
Through
I'm
the
bringing
big
it.
80s, through the big hair, through the leopard printed tights.
I'm trying to bring back rock, as you guys know.
Yeah.
So it's not dead.
It's not. It's definitely not. I miss punk, and I miss the punk shows, and I miss the... But nobody's really going into the shows anymore. Like, it's not like it was before. I used to be at those shows, like, all the time. Every weekend was some other random weekend Winnebago Warrior band, like, coming through, and you just don't get that too much anymore.
La Tuna. On Beach Trevino.
The which one?
La Tuna.
La Tuna.
Yeah.
It was Cantina La Tuya.
Cantina La Tuna.
La Tuya. There you go.
Cantina La
La Tuna. Oh yeah, they were in prison the whole time.
I was like, are we going there? Damn, that's what my grandma said. I didn't think it was so...
My bad.
Man, I saw a lot of cool bands there. I was crowd surfing in that tiny little dive bar.
It's a good spot.
Yeah, they used to have those Mexican puppets hanging from the ceiling, and I got kicked in the head by those things several times crowd surfing. And then there was Lucky Devils for a little while.
Lucky Devils.
Yeah, that place was cool. We saw.
I saw a couple of ska bands there.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Handlebars too. I saw a couple good shows there.
Yeah. Handlebars was cool.
I'll make it a quick story. But I used to work at Checker Auto Parts.
Oh yeah.
And this band that was rolling through town stopped by that Checker Auto Parts because something on their van and their cargo van broke.
Of course.
So they stopped by there and I helped them out, and they looked like a band. And again, I've always been into music, so I asked them a couple questions, and they told me they were playing at Handlebars. Their band's name was Stereo Typewriter, and because I helped them out, they gave me a couple of demo CDs. And
Nice.
Stereo Typewriter, they're still on iTunes or on YouTube. They're a badass band. They're punkish for sure. I love their sound. But anyway, they invited me to their show at Handlebars, and I went. Had a great time. What was crazy is I can't remember how many years after that, by chance, I go to Handlebars again, just on a whim, and they were playing again.
Nice.
Oh shit.
That was like one of those coincidental like happenings. I was like, how the fuck did this happen? You know,
That's
it's just
so cool.
they were a great band.
That's so cool. I saw the Ataris at Cantina La Tuya before they were the Ataris. I saw that band.
What year was that?
This, man.
02? 01? Because I think I was there.
He was the one Asian guy there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, because I graduated in 99. And I started going to shows like that year. And I was going a lot to different stuff. And I remember that was the Ataris. And I remember it was some drama with some friends, and somebody's leaving outside and going patio, and I'm like, "But the band," and it was one of those just wild nights. Yeah.
But the band.
The guy want to be here with us. Yeah, I was a big nerd for the band. And what's dumb is that, one, I was either too short to actually see the band, so I just appreciated hearing them. Two, we had the Augustus Punky Party with Marina Monsiváis during middle school and high school years. And it was on Sundays from 6 to midnight. And it was on 85.5 radio. And Marina would always be like, "Oh my God." And Augustus had a pretty heavy accent. He was Chicano. Of what I don't really know, but he sounded like he could speak better Spanish than English. And then he would just be like, "Okay, this is Skanking Pickle," and then it was ska and punk. And every now and again, if there was a good up-and-coming El Paso local band, he would play them. But I didn't know who anybody looked like. I just hit record on my little cassette player so I could record these ska and punk songs. So Warped Tour, the first Warped Tour that hit El Paso in 2001, I think.
Sounds about right.
It was at the Coliseum. And it was outside the Coliseum, and the day before I was supposed to pick up money from everybody so I could go get tickets, and I was the only one with the car, so I would go pick up the money, and people are scrounging up change. I got dollars and change, and just everybody's trying to get these tickets. And I show up, and I had to go to Mervin's. Remember Mervin's?
Yeah, I remember.
And I had to go to the Ticketmaster window that was in there.
Oh, that's right.
And they're closing the damn ticket window, and I'm like, no. And so now my friends have to scrounge up more change to pay day of show prices.
Oh, shit.
And so we get there, my friends are all pissed off, and I have my best friend with me. It was she had just graduated, so I was gonna get her ticket, and I was like, I'll just pay, I have a job, whatever. I wanted to spend more money inside, but whatever. And I'm standing next to this dude's taking forever up there, and I was like, damn, maybe they're sold out, maybe they're whatever, because I've never been to a festival like this, right? So next thing you know, he turns around, he's like, "Oh man, did you guys want to get tickets?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" And he's like, here. And he has these 4 bracelets and these 4 tickets. And I was like, dope, dude. And me and my friend looked 12. And she's like, these bracelets, we could drink. And I was like, you look 12, but we're not going to drink. And then we went to find my friends, but they had already bought scalp tickets. So I was like, these other girls were like, "Is that the ticket?" But I'm like, "You want tickets? Here you go." I just, you just pay it forward, right? I don't know what the hell. So we are in line, and they're making people turn back because there's no studs allowed, and studs and spikes and stuff. And I had my belt or whatever, so we had to get back out of line, go all the way to the car, and come back. And they're selling spikes and studs at the first booth that I could see on the inside, and I was like, "Oh man, okay, whatever." And we're getting in line, and we're right about to go in. The security guard sees us, and he's like, "Oh, cool, all access." And he turns his back, he turns to the other way, and we end up behind all of the stages with just a bunch of artists and tech guys.
Wow.
And I don't know who the hell I'm looking at, because all I have are this pile of cassettes from the Punky Party. I don't know what
you
these
can't put a
artists,
face to the name.
I can't. And I'm hearing these bands, and I'm like, oh my god. I mean, Mangal was playing, and I was like, oh yeah. I could only hear them, and we couldn't find our way out. So we did find our way out for a split second, and it's the last show on the tour. And people are just giving away CDs, giving away all sorts of stuff. And I had this money, because not only did I not have to buy the tickets, I am not having to buy all these demo stuff. And we had little backpacks, which was the smartest thing ever. And I start buying stickers. I bought a Less Than Jake sticker that was really cool. I bought this collection of stickers, and it's bumper stickers, and it said No Effects. And in the O, it was the emblem of all the different punk bands, like Black Flag, and fucking
Rancid
MXPX or like all the other punk bands of the time. Like, it was a collection of stickers. And so we're back there, and these two old guys are looking at my best friend and I. And she's got short hair. She's like colored like rainbow, like reddish and reds. And I have my pigtails, classic pigtails. And like, this guy's looking at us, and he's like, I like her hair. No, I like her hair. And I'm looking at my friend. I'm like, let's go. These dudes are about to hit on us. Let's get out of here. And she's like, no, I don't know. She just didn't either see it or I don't know. And he's like, oh, you guys like Less Than Jake? And I was like, oh, yeah. She's like, yeah, we do, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, he's like, so you guys got our set? And I was like, no, we didn't. And she's like, but we did. I was like, no, we didn't. We were stuck back here. We don't know how to get out of here. I don't know. I love your... Are you Less Than Jake? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, my God, I love you guys. And they're like, you don't know what we look... And I was like, no. There's this punky party, and I just hit record, and you have a song like this. And I said, I bought a sticker. I went, and I bought a sticker, and I pulled out the sticker, and they signed it for me. And I was like, that's the only way I could get them to, like, show, because I don't know what you look like. I am just in it for the music. So he's just like, oh, right, well... NoFX is going to close the show. And he's like, well, what's your name? And what's your name? I'm like, I'm Didi. He's like, oh, yeah. And I was like, NoFX, like, they're going to close the show. Are they going to play my song? He's like, I don't know. Why didn't you go ask him? And he walks us around the big stage and up onto the stage. And it's a custom, if you go to the Warped Tours, that at the last show of the night, everyone's allowed on the stage.
Yeah.
And so he, like, lets us on, and I'm just like, fuck, yeah, like, this is so cool. And I'm waving to my friends, and like, and I literally was able to crowd surf, like jump off and like jump back on. I was like 90 pounds back then, so like the security guard was like, I'll just throw her back on stage. And
one-handed.
Dude, yeah, he like grabbed me by the pigtails and flung me back. But yeah, dude, it was fucking crazy. It was a fun time back in the day where you don't know.
That is a hell of a first Warped Tour
Yeah.
story. Wow.
This is super fun. I have all these signatures. I don't even know who they are. Mighty Mighty Boss Stones.
That's freaking awesome.
So many bands can't even. They're just scribbles on pieces of paper now. I don't know who they are.
And this was at the County Coliseum.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Super jealous.
It was a fun time. But anyway, so that was it.
That's
I wore Chuck Taylors. Tying it back to our topic.
Call back.
No, the best I ever had as far as meeting I met Cake's singer in Albuquerque, John McRae. So I got in line. So it was the Killers, Cake, Black Flag. No, not Black Flag. Bad Religion.
Ooh.
Minus the Bear. I can't remember what other bands were there, but the headliners were Cake and then the Killers, if I remember correctly. And between bands, they had a Meet the Band type line, and the line for Cake. I love Cake. Cake's one of my favorite all-time bands too. Mm-hmm. The line was so long, and I stepped out of line for whatever reason, and then after a while, we passed by the front of the line, and I just told the singer, I was like, "Hey, John, can I just shake your hand, man?" He's like, "Yeah, you can." So shook his hand, got a picture, and it's the dumbest looking face I could have ever made for a photo. I'm closing my eyes, I'm tilted towards him, but he was cool enough to shake my hand, and I didn't have to wait a night. I was like, I just want to shake your hand, bro. And so he shook my hand, and he still gave me the signed up poster.
That's dope.
So that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
That was pretty badass.
I think the stupidest picture I took with a celebrity was Sendog. And I had bought tickets for Brujeria. And it was going to be Brujeria, Voodoo Glow Skulls, and Piñata Protest.
Right.
And I was like, fuck yeah, Brujeria. And I'm watching Cypress Hill. I follow them on social media. And I'm seeing Sendog in Germany, selling out stadiums in Germany, talking about, hey, shout out to Piñata Protest, shout out to... And I was like, what are you... Okay, cool, that's awesome. So what I didn't know is that Voodoo Glow Skulls had backed out of the show, out of that tour, that second half of the tour. And Sendog's band, upon coming back from Germany, he hit the smaller circuits with his band Powerflow, which is a metal rap band. It's Sendog, right? So I have a friend, This is not safe for children. But he was my friend was throwing joints in the tour buses. Because he's like, well, if it's Send Dog, you know what I mean? Just throwing joints in the... And he's just a cool guy, just throwing the stuff around and whatever. And he's an old school dude. Like, he has a flip phone. Doesn't...
To this day.
Well, then he did. And he doesn't really know about...
Smartphones
or whatever. And I'm front row because I want to catch Brujeria. And I see Send Dog. And I had kind of briefed myself on the songs or whatever, and I was like, yeah, kind of singing along, so I could enjoy myself a little bit more, right? And at the end, I see Send Dog walking out by himself, and this is the old Tricky Falls, so I can see him walking around, and I'm like, that's Send Dog. This dude just sold out stadiums in Germany like last week, and now he's on the streets right there. Like, I gotta say hi and thank you. So I'm like, hey, Send Dog, hey, thank you. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, he literally had me do, like, a little spin. And I was like, hey, thanks so much for everything. I'm a fan, and la, la, la. And he's like, you want a picture? And the closest dude available to me was the homeboy. And I was like, dude, take a picture. And he takes a picture, and then everyone, where we were standing was kind of, like, near the merch table.
Right.
And the other band members were lining up to take a picture at the table. And they see my friend, and they're like, that's the dude that gave us the joints. Like, that's the dude. And so everyone's like, come on, we want a picture. So then I take this picture of, like, my friend with Send Dog and Brujeria and Piñata Protest, and he's like doing dumb, right? And then I look at my phone in my picture, and it's pitch black, dude. You cannot see Send Dog for nothing. And the picture right after that is my friend with the entire band.
Damn. Work your magic, Rene. Rene will fix it.
Oh shit, I can try.
He just kept saying, you're beautiful, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here.
Holy shit. So on that note, it was, I'm glad you made it out here.
Thanks.
It was
Thanks for having me.
a good drive for you. This was fun.
Absolutely.
It was a long time coming, and we finally got it done, and it was great. I thank you for
man, you're welcome.
For giving us your time and being our guest.
Man. Anytime.
Yeah, we'll have you back gladly.
Awesome.
So you guys can reach out to Didi at MyAwesomeDidi, as you said earlier.
Yeah.
On most social media platforms and TikTok. And again, reach out to her for your tarot services, your tattoos, and some commissioned artwork.
Yeah, I also do burlesque.
Burlesque also,
that's right. September 28th, I am performing with Burlesque on the Rio at the Something to Brag About show. It is burlesque and drag.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing in the... I'm showing my act in the adult-only Saturday evening at Touch Bar.
Touch Bar? Where's that at?
Touch Bar. Touch Bar used to be is what used to be the old Mulligan's.
Okay.
On James Watt.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a nice little bar right now. There is bar food and great service, and tickets and tables do sell out for the burlesque shows.
And how much the tickets do you know?
I have no idea.
Well, we'll get the information from you later, and we'll post it on here.
Awesome, great, yeah, I'll get it to you.
Yeah, so yeah, man, it was great. Thank you for
thank you for having me.
Thank you for giving Adrienne some insight, also.
Absolutely.
I'm only upset that I was trying to see how, from what I know about him, how it relates, but it's got to be some deeper seated stuff because I couldn't see much on my end.
It's hard to read my eyes when you could barely see my eyes.
So thanks again. This is Rene with a Long Story Longer podcast. And special thanks to our guest, Adrienne Didi Dominguez. You guys and Adrienne, you guys peace out. We love you all.